Yo, what is going on, YouTube? And welcome back to another episode of Premium Takes. We have reached our ninth edition, and I just wanted to say, man, thank you guys for all the support you guys been showing all of us here. We're just trying to make Premium Takes the best podcast on YouTube, and if it wasn't for you guys in the chat, like Logan, like Taj, like all you guys that joined in, man. You guys are the reason why we keep on coming back to you guys every Sunday, and we keep on dedicating a lot of time off stream to make this show the best show. So I'm joined by my best hosts in the world. We got Adam, we got Mac. How you guys doing today?
What's going on?
Hell yeah.
What's good?
Let's get it. Well, we have a lot of different topics to cover today, guys. We're going to talk about the NBA. We're going to talk about the playoffs. We're going to touch into MLB, a little bit, talk about a little bit of the lockout. I don't really F at the MLB, but it's a sport and we want to respect us being a sports podcast. We're going to
Don't
try
forget
to
the
cover
MLS.
sports that doesn't really be talked about that much. You know what I'm saying? In our space on YouTube, you know that
What's up,
we all
Taj?
make respectable content, and I noticed that our little group on YouTube, we don't really cover that much other sports but basketball and football. So on Premium Takes, what we try to do is we try to cover that sports that no one's really talking about, that, and we try to you should bring some different takes to you guys. So we got NASCAR going on right now. I got some DraftKings lineups. I'm hoping that I can win some money today, but I know Adam, he's an avid big fan of NASCAR, is slowly getting back into it. He got his guy Morton Tricks Jr. He wants to get some points. And Adam, how's NASCAR been looking this season?
Well, for Martin Truex Jr., not very well. I mean, right now
Gotcha.
he's 30th in the race right now. Briscoe, who won last week, is second in the top 10. And right now they reset for the next stage. So I am not a huge NASCAR fan, but I enjoy watching cars go around in circles. It's a great sport to watch. If you like cars, it's something interesting. The dynamics and intricacies that they put into these cars is actually well done. Plus the sponsorship, some of them are cool. Like the number 2 car right now is awesome. It's all green and yellow. You know what I mean? Martin Truex Jr. number 19. He's got a cool couple logos and sponsors. Have you ever seen Talladega Nights?
I love
That's a
that movie. Shake
great
it back.
NASCAR.
Shake it back,
Great,
baby. Shake
great
it back.
NASCAR. Here, Ricky Bobby,
Ricky
NASCAR.
Bobby.
So
Oh,
it's
sweet
for me.
roll,
It's
baby Jesus.
so I love
Oh, man.
watching that. And the only thing I have a problem with NASCAR right now is they changed the format, so they have stages now, which they're doing it for point systems and safety. And it's like, well, basically everyone gets a break after you've hit 200 laps. You go into the next stage, or 33 laps in this case, out of 200. So you go to the next stage and do it. Before it was like you just drove and drove and drove. So I like it. I'm getting back into it. Plus, when there's nothing to watch on Sundays, it kind of helps me fill out some of the day. There is the NBA. The Knicks did lose today, unfortunately, and
Oh,
it looks like to me the Knicks. I like Thibodeau as a coach, but there's a lot. It seems there's a lot to be left desired with the New York Knicks. Every time I look at the Knicks, no matter who the coach is, there's injuries, there's lack of play. The team does fight. I mean, they had some good. They basically rallied back to get the game tied, and then talent prevails in the NBA. I mean, you had Joel Embiid, dunking on cats, and James Harden playing like James Harden that we all know and love. Don't worry about
All
that
right,
though.
real quick that you mentioned about that name up, those couple names up. Are the Sixers officially the team to beat in the East now after these first couple games with James Harden in the lineup?
yeah, let's actually, that's a good point. Let's actually fade out of NASCAR. Thank you, Adam, for the NASCAR updates. We're gonna get back to that a little bit later. Let's talk about NBA playoff predictions. You can begin, Mac.
I mean,
Well,
I'm not the biggest NBA guy, but at the same time, I mean, I know a little bit big stuff, big
mhm.
news, and I know see things here and there. The
To
Sixers, the
answer your
last couple
question,
of
Mac,
games. Yeah, go ahead.
it's I don't think they're the team to beat. I still think you have to beat Milwaukee, and depending on how the Brooklyn Nets play, that's what I believe. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to answer your question quickly while I was
Oh
on my
no, that's
break.
cool. That's cool.
So
I'm not a big NBA guy. I just really have this disdain for the NBA because I just don't. The way the game is turned into something different than what I grew up watching. The product's not the same anymore. These guys are just moving around, jumping around team to team. Players as great as like James Harden shouldn't be on his third different team in just less than 2 years. That's just ridiculous to me. But but
You're right.
and now I'm hearing some rumblings about LeBron James wants out of LA again and all this crazy. So it's like,
What else is new?
yeah, and so it's like it's just to me, I just kind of get annoyed with the NBA. So I haven't been following it as closely the last few years. But the
Well,
Sixers, to me, I'm right here. I'm right outside of Philly, so I get a lot of Sixer news and Sixer this and that. So I watched this team like the other night when they played was in Minnesota, and I'm not sure how good Minnesota actually is. Like I said, I really don't follow that closely anymore, but they absolutely trashed that team, man. Like they look pretty damn unstoppable. And I was just even I respected, like you said, Milwaukee, the defending champs.
Yeah.
Brooklyn's got a very good
Brooklyn
basketball
got a
team
Brooklyn
still.
got a roster, yeah.
Can't sleep on them, but the Sixers look like they have finally. That James Harden might have been the piece that they were looking for, man. Him and Joel Embiid were just really clicking on all cylinders the other night. So
listen, man, I don't disagree with you, but I shouldn't say I don't disagree with you. I do disagree, but I hear what you're saying. But my take is James Harden, Joel Embiid need to step up in the playoffs. Last year, one of the reasons why they didn't do well was they kind of didn't have the mental fortitude to keep up in the playoffs last year. And James Harden, to me, does that every year. We see this magnificent player up and down the floor. He's taking shots from behind his back and throwing it up and doing alley oops, and then come to playoff time, something happens. Whether it's a defender playing him, whether he gets a little banged up during the season, it's like every time Harden gets to the playoffs, I just can't trust the guy. And while I like the move now, because Mac, let me ask you this question about James Harden. When he went to Brooklyn, what did you say then? Did you like the move?
I mean, I thought they would just put together an unstoppable basketball team that was going to be unbeatable. I thought they were going to mess around and set the damn record, regular season.
Yeah, it looked like the fucking Warriors back when they grabbed KD, huh, Mac?
Yeah, I thought it was
one of those powerhouse moves
over the top. But you're right. What you're saying is absolutely right. They folded in the playoffs, man.
Right, and so KD didn't fold in the playoffs, but James Harden was nowhere to be found. They needed him against Milwaukee, and KD is literally winning games on will alone, and he needs a second option, which they brought him in because Kyrie was a little banged up last year. And what did he do? He didn't do anything. And so now they ship him out for another guy, Ben Simmons. That could be a salary dump. I don't know if he'll ever come back or if he's going to come back, but if he does, I like that move a little bit better more than for Brooklyn because they like to play wing defense, which means how you're going to beat Milwaukee. Milwaukee plays an inside-out game with the Greek Freak, right? The Greek Freak can do everything, but one of the things that they couldn't do last year was defend the perimeter. Ben Simmons, if he comes back, does that better. Now, he doesn't give you any scoring, but let's be honest, neither did James Harden in the playoffs. So, if we're talking about straight one-on-one, to me that's a better matchup. For the Eastern Conference, though, what I think is sad is that the Knicks have been in this quagmire of mediocrity in New York. 1 minute they'll look good. I hate to say it, and Mac, I know you're a Met fan, and unfortunately it looks like your team may not be starting on time this year, but they're like the Mets. 1 minute they'll have some, prosperity and do you think they're going in the right direction? The next year it all falls apart, right? I mean, is this all New York sports? I mean, the Giants are kind of the same way, right? The Jets, unfortunately, haven't been really that way. They've been more in the quagmire. But like Brooklyn does well, but they're not the Knicks, so nobody cares as much. I mean, I like Brooklyn; they're my team, but nobody likes Brooklyn the same way because they don't have the marquee that the Knicks have. So it's just interesting every time I watch. So then you get rid of the coach from last year or 2 years ago. You bring in Tibbs, the defense goes up, and now guess what? Injuries, trades. Kemba Walker's not playing; he's out for the year. You know what I mean? Like this team is just there's a curse. Maybe it's Spike Lee curse. Maybe it's the curse of Spike Lee. Maybe they need to have him watch the game.
What did Spike Lee do?
Well, see, Spike Lee is the number one fan. He's always at the game. But maybe if he was at home watching, the curse would be gone and they'd win again. I don't know. I'm just trying to shake up their juju. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't Spike Lee like that music producer?
He's a movie creator,
Movie. Sorry.
movie producer. No,
He
but to me, like
continue.
I'm watching the NBA game right now, flipping back between NASCAR and Phoenix is on right now, and they're playing. The game is more exciting, right? The game is up and down. Booker is amazing, right? They're the number one seed in the Western Conference now. For me, the one thing I will say about the Suns is they have two weaknesses. I believe is they also can't defend bigs because when they went through everything last year and got to the NBA Finals, they just had no answer for the Greek Freak. This year, they need to see if they can bring in a guy. I think I saw Serge Ibaka on their roster. That to me is a great move because even if he gives you some minutes down the stretch, you can guard. He can guard guys like the Greek Freak. So the NBA, it's only about 20 games left. It probably means there's about 6.5 weeks of the season left till about mid-April. That's when the playoffs will start. So we'll see what happens on. Let's see what happens this down the stretch. But if I'm a Knicks fan, I'm a little sad because I don't know where the direction this team is going.
Alrighty. Well, I have the greatest team to touch the face of the earth in the Miami Heat. Um, playing playing either Chicago or Milwaukee in the Eastern Championships. I just feel like we are built right to take it this year. I'm not saying we're gonna take it all, but I think we're built right to make a deep shot in the playoffs. We have been dealing with a lot of injuries this season. As a casual NBA fan, I don't watch it as hardcore. I don't want to just talk out of my ass, but I truly feel that the Miami Heat is ready again to make a run. And we wasn't even supposed to be there a couple years ago, but we was there, and the bubble kind of helped us with that. We got smashed against the Lakers, but I just think that we have a chance to dethrone the NBA champions in the Eastern Conference Championship game and hopefully make a run at the finals. But yeah, like Adam said, there's 6 weeks left in the playoffs. This is in the season. This is when NBA for me gets super interesting. I don't watch the whole season because it's so long and call me cocky, but I knew Miami Heat was gonna make the playoffs, so it's like I'll
Well,
just wait till the playoffs and watch it. But that's the thing about NBA; it's so predictable nowadays. It's kind of like you kind of already know like who's gonna be in, and you have maybe those two or one team that shocks you. That like really, oh wow, we didn't expect them. What's up, Hit Squad? We didn't expect them to be
the
there.
pitch
There's always
clock.
that one team that shocks you, but usually it's the same team that makes the that makes the playoffs. That being said, I'm not really a big on the MLB side, but what I am big on is just just the rights of players and I don't really know that much to talk about it, but I have a topic here. It says thoughts on the MLB lockout. Do you guys have any thoughts, and do you guys want to give any opinions on the lockout? You guys don't have to. If not, we can move on. But I just did want to take the time to talk about that for a bit, if you guys don't mind. And Adam, you can begin, and Mac, if you want to go first.
This is kind of a joke. People might hate me, but is anyone really going to miss baseball if it's gone? I mean, yes. I know it's a joke. There's Yankee fans out there. I get it. I get it. I'm just making a joke. But to me, the lockout has happened in baseball a lot. We'll see what happens. They were supposed usually pitchers and catchers report right about this time. The
Mhm.
Grapefruit League kind of starts up. So, I don't know when it's going to end. Hopefully, they'll get some spring baseball in. It's
Mhm.
usually
Looking
a
like
tradition for some fans to play hooky on opening day, where they go to the stadium and
I
kind
think
of
he says
enjoy
no
it.
one will to your question, Adam.
But Mac, I feel for you because I'm a Yankee fan, not a diehard Yankee fan, but my loyalties are with that club growing up. My favorite player was Don Mattingly, and then the next year when I started to follow them, they won the World Series with Derek Jeter and all that in '96. Shows you how old I am, and that was the tri-state area for you. There they
What up,
were
Miz?
they were the team in where I lived, so I loved that my friends were Yankee fans. But Mac, I want to know how you feel because you're a Met fan. I
Mm-hmm.
guess you're a diehard
Mark
Met
is a
fan,
Mets fan.
and you don't even get to debut Buck Showalter. Finally, the Mets get a manager that
Mm-hmm.
people can get behind, and it seems like he may not get to start the season on time. What are your thoughts?
yeah, it kind of sucks because I wanted to see if the Mets could finally get things together, get their footing together this season. But right now, they're nowhere even near an agreement with this lockout. So it's this could affect the season seriously, can impact the season right now. Right now, spring training, that's not even a thought because they're not
Yeah.
even close to an agreement on getting. I mean, players are at the point now where they're just getting ready to go home with their families and screw it all at this point because nothing's looking like it's getting ready to. Nothing's gonna. Nothing's. What am I trying to say? Nothing is close to even an
No
agreement's not even
progress, right?
close. Yeah, no
being
progress
resolved or
whatsoever.
anything like that.
But
Well, is there a
also,
deadline?
I'm not
It
100%
looks
sure about
bad.
that.
Well, like Scott, I don't want to sound like I don't want to talk out of my ass, but like I looked into it a little bit, and it looks pretty. Like it doesn't look like it's anywhere close of getting resolved.
No, I got
Well,
it
my
pegged this
question
morning. They
is
said they're
like,
not even close.
why lose your fan base? I mean, I don't know how the MLB does in terms of ratings. I don't know. I know the NFL is king. No matter what happens, the NFL is king, and
In America, absolutely.
I can't explain to you if it's because they can get players from anywhere. I can't do that. But to me, it's like, why is baseball the one that seems to always have issues when you have guys playing? The game doesn't require as much physicality, yet you're losing your fan base because I heard that the MLB was their demographic was like people in their 50s, right? Because it's a game you can watch. It's almost like golf. You sit there and you watch. If you're into it, you can score the at bats and the strikes, and it becomes more fun, right? It becomes you're more interactive in the game. But if your young fan base who you're trying to keep alive is now going to go to something else, right? Because think about it, USFL opens in a few weeks, right? And now that football is probably not going to be the best football you've seen. It's probably going to be like the AAF
It's gonna try.
football.
It's gonna be
Where
worse than that.
you're
Sorry.
gonna watch it, and we'll talk about it on this show because I'm interested in see how it plays out. But
You good?
what I'm saying is you're going to have people have other interests. Right now, we have FC New York against the LA Galaxy. Not that many people watch MLS soccer, but if there's no baseball on, people are going to try to fill other sporting uh, devices with
The
other
sporting
sports.
fixes, like how all the
Right.
gamblers in Vegas bet on the UFC via COVID because that was the only sport to bet on. So we had a
Right.
lot of
Right.
people that don't usually bet on the UFC that betted on the UFC. So same thing. It's like MLB is gonna not be around. You're gonna find all these other guys that's gonna get interested in these other sports.
See, for me in the
Absolutely.
summertime, with me, like usually when it's because I don't sit and just watch baseball games constantly like that. I mean, I like the Mets, I like the Mets a lot and everything, but I can't always just sit and just watch baseball games constantly like
Yeah,
on a
it's
daily
boring. I'm not
basis.
trying to wait for like three
So,
hours just for one play.
so
Like you can
when I
miss me
when I
with
get
that.
sometimes the summertime, I usually find myself getting. That's when I get more into watching the things like tennis and
Mm.
things like that. I don't know. I get something out of all the big tennis tournaments throughout the summer and stuff like that. I just find myself watching things like that to pass the time. I mean, I'm gonna give this UFL or whatever a shot, USFL a
USFL.
shot or whatever. But
Mac,
I'm not
you were
sure.
around for the original, right? The original.
Absolutely, I
Yeah,
absolutely
United States
was.
Football League. Let's get
I
into
was
it.
I was a little kid,
Matt,
but I was
continue.
around for it. Yeah, I was a little kid,
There,
but I was definitely around for it.
there were some good players in that
There was
USFL.
a whole lot of good players: Herschel
Mm.
Walker, Jim
You
Kelly,
guys talking about the original one, not this
the
specific
Yes,
original.
one,
Yeah,
right?
there's a
yes,
lot of good players were in that league back in the day.
right. And it's interesting because I never thought the XFL now partnered with the NFL, which I think means it's going to be a minor league system for the NFL. The USFL is an actual direct competitor. Now they took some players that are kind of like booty players because the talent pool is low, right? So you're not,
Really low.
and they play in April. So obviously they're not going to compete with the NFL. And you'll probably see a couple of these guys in camp. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
Oh, you,
A couple
I
of
would
folks
see
there.
that.
But
Like
the original USFL, I remember like Jim Kelly got drafted by
So
the
say,
Buffalo Bills, but then that team in the USFL offered him way more money, offered him more money than the Buffalo Bills did, and he went out and played for the USFL for his first couple of years as a professional before he joined in the Buffalo Bills. So they had some supers like Steve Young played in the original USFL. It was back in the day. Like I said, it was a competitor of the NFL, not like just some little
you guys
sister
know
league.
why they died?
the NFL is too great.
Yeah, they went bankrupt and just
Hmm.
kind of
Right.
floundered.
You
The
guys think
NFL was
like because
around for about, depending 40 50 years prior to them starting. So, 20 years since the merger, right? So they merged in about 67 and they had the first Super Bowl. And then, USFL came up and USFL came around Actually, Donald Trump helped fund the New Jersey, New York Generals, who I'm going to follow this year as well. Being in the tri-state area, I'm going to follow them. But they folded. A lot of the players then had to go to the team that they were drafted, that they brought, and the Buffalo Bills were happy because they got their quarterback, Jim Kelly, who we don't talk about as one of the greats, but he is one of the greats. I was watching, some highlights the other day, and their Buffalo team reminded me of the modern day St. Louis Rams greatest show on turf. Because when people watch Buffalo in that era of when they went to the Super Bowl, they were the greatest show on grass. Okay, because they had Andre Reed, they had Thurman Thomas, they had Jim Kelly, and they were throwing the ball all over the yard. Their offense was revolutionary in how they did things. And if you look at the game plan that Bill Belichick had against them in the Super Bowl,
care about us. Sorry.
if you look at what they had, the game plan they had in the Super Bowl with the Giants, it's almost the same game plan that Bill Belichick implemented against the Rams in 2001. Right? They were physical with the Rams off the line. They made sure to hit the receivers. Guess what they did with Andre Reed and those guys in Buffalo? They always hit the receivers when they caught the ball. They let them pass all over the field, but they never let them cross the goal line. Same thing that the Patriots did against, Kurt Warner. But then Kurt Warner threw a pick to Bucky Jones or Ty Law, one of those two. I forget who it was, and he ran 90-something yards to the house in the Super Bowl. And that was kind of the backbreaker. But if you watch that game plan, he even said it to, I don't know if it was the announcers, John Madden, whoever it was. They said they want to get up in the receivers' faces. So it's one of those interesting things. I don't think the USFL is going to, it's all about product. It's just another gambling thing. But if, do you really think the quarterbacks are going to be great? No. I'm sure there'll be some team
The talent level, absolutely, Scorbridge. It's going to be shit. Hopefully they can make something of it. I'm gonna watch it. It is adding another entertainment value in April or whenever they're gonna launch. Sorry to cut you off, but compared to the talent level, these are practice squad teams playing against each other, and
That's basically what they will be.
yeah.
Well, there'll be some talent. There'll be some guys who, maybe are injured or trying to make it back in the league. They'll try the SFL.
It's good for that.
USFL.
I like that. Being that arena football is no longer available, I don't know what the hell happened to arena football, but there's no other market for these people that didn't even get a shot at the NFL, right? These people that went to community colleges that just grind like backyard or flag football, and it's kind of like this league gives them another shot to get eyes on them, get league eyes on them.
It does.
So I do love that atmosphere.
It does give those guys a shot instead of having to take the semi-pro option or something like that. They can just go and play in this league, which is still considered a professional league, even though it's not the NFL, but it's still a professional league, and they can. And I mean, it makes them feel. I mean, if nothing else, it gives these guys a little bit of a confidence in them, in their own selves. Like they feel like, well, I'm a professional football player. I might not be in the NFL, but I'm still a professional football player. People watch me on TV, do what I do, and get a chance to showcase their skills. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? So, and like you said, some of these guys will be camp bodies. Some of them might even make NFL rosters.
We might get some guys in the off season. When we're starting up our training camp. Some of these guys might be on the roster,
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think what happens with USFL is they start in April. The draft is in April. They're still building their rosters by the time the season comes to an end. For USFL, I'm not sure how many weeks it is, but I don't think it goes past mid-July, right? So now you're talking about 2 or 3 weeks where roster turnover could be a big thing, right? Now you got a guy from the USFL. Who's healthy, who's played football, doesn't need to get into shape, and then at the back end of your roster type guys, they're the ones that are going to be in jeopardy. So I'm interested in seeing how it goes. I'm loyal to the NFL. I don't think it's going to be something crazy. I'm looking forward to the XFL because if they do this,
that's fine.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with the World League they had a few years ago.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm gonna dip for 2 minutes. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna create a banner for you guys. And you guys can chill and talk about the XFL if you guys are down.
Right. We'll just talk about the XFL, I guess. But the point is, the XFL reminds me of the World League if they do that, because the World League, they used to allocate players to Germany or Scotland or whatever the teams were, Frankfurt Galaxies and the Scottish Claymores. I mean, dang, if you guys don't know who those teams are, you need to go look them up. But the
remember
NFL had a
those-
World Bowl league.
Nah,
Loud ass uniforms.
I know a conversation that we can get into, guys. That and I want the chat to know. I want the chat to know that we're gonna go live. For a while, we're gonna just be us three probably for the next 30 minutes or so, and then we'll open up the lines and we can get you guys calling in. I'll put the link in the chat and we can get you guys calling in and we can have an open discussion because I know that there's a lot of people that love the Giants here and we're about to get into it. So I'm gonna put this question up and I'm gonna let you guys handle it. I'll be right back. Adam, you can go first because I know you've been waiting all week for it. And Mac, if you want to go first, it's all you.
So the combine
is right
back.
So the combine is coming up on next week, next Thursday, everyone. So mark it on your calendars. Actually, not next Thursday. Excuse me. Next Wednesday. Let me get the date right so you guys know. Yes, next Thursday is when it starts. The 3rd through the 6th. So this is the time where they're going to showcase something. So I just wanted to do an exercise here with Mac and the rest of the chat. And if you guys are not familiar with this, Lance Zierlein, he is an NFL combine kind of guy, NFL draft scout. He puts out his best evaluations and rankings for players. So now I'm going to get into something that I thought was fun exercise. So Lance Zierlein has already ranked the quarterbacks in this draft class, and I'm going to also compare quarterbacks in a few other draft classes. So the rankings go. Let me read the rankings for you so you guys understand what we got here. Okay. So his grading system is 8.0 is a perfect prospect, 7.3 is a perennial All-Pro, 7.5, 7 to like 701 is a Pro Bowl talent, 6.7 to 6.8 is a year one quality starter, 6.5 is a boomer bust prospect, 6.3, 6.4 will be a starter within their first 2 years. 6 and below is like backup, developmental traits, backup player. He goes all the way down to 5, right? And then there's no grade, which is probably the worst you could get, right? So I'm just going to read a couple quarterback. One quarterback I'm going to read out loud right now is Daniel Jones. Number is 6.3. Now, I'm not going to name these quarterbacks. I'm just going to read rankings. Remember, these are Lance Zierlein's rankings on NFL.com. 6.3, remember, will be a starter within his first 2 years. I have another quarterback here that's in this class. Won't let you know who he is at 6.36. Another quarterback in this class is 6.39. Won't give you his name. A quarterback in the Daniel Jones class won't give you his name yet either. He's a 6.40. People are like, well, what are you getting at here, Adam? What I'm getting at is, and I'll get to the exercise in a minute, is that if the quarterbacks are coming out are ranked the same or the similar to Daniel Jones, well, I'm not saying the Giants are going to pick one. This is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying these are things you got to look at when you're evaluating what might happen to the combine. Now, some of these numbers are pre-combine, so that means they may go up or down, but most likely they're going to stick to where they are. Now, there's a few things that we can go over with Daniel Jones' profile here. Now, I will read a line or two, and we'll compare these quarterbacks, just because I know you guys want to know the rankings. So Daniel Jones right now, out of all of them, let me just make sure I'm reading this correctly. He's 6.3 in Lance Zierlein's things boy. Okay. What's that? Okay. And the last one is this. So of all the quarterbacks I have up on my screen right now, one of them's from the same draft class, and 3 of them are from this incoming draft class. I'll have you know that Daniel Jones, according to Lance Zierlein, is ranked lower than all of them or graded lower than all of them. So this is what I'm getting at when I'm talking about, you can't just, say, okay, that's it. We're not going to draft a quarterback, blah, blah, blah. When these guys are going in with the same rankings as Daniel Jones did. And yet Daniel Jones is picked number 6 overall, but we don't want to ensure that. So let me do somebody else. Let's do somebody else who's actually prevalent. This guy, I'll let you know. His name's Kyler Murray. I just want to get his take. So I haven't given you the other quarterbacks yet, and I will reveal them soon. But I just wanted to let that number sink in.
Well, Fast Mac, are you talking about Jones?
Yes. I am talking about Jones. But right now, I'm comparing Kyler Murray's. These are just pre-combine numbers that were going in, right? This is
Gotcha.
what Lance Zierlein ranked them. He's a scout for NFL.com, ranked them. Kyler Murray's prospect grade is 6.80, which means year one quality starter. So in that draft class, you've had Kyler Murray and Drew Lock. You know what Drew Lock is? I'm going to reveal it. Drew Lock is the other quarterback compared to Daniel Jones. Going into the combine, his ranking was 6.40. So these are the type of things you got to look for because everyone's like, oh, these quarterbacks. Okay, well, guess what? Kyler Murray is 6.80 and Kenny Pickett is 6.39. Okay, Matt Carroll is 6.40. Okay, so he's on the level of Drew Lock. Now, it depends on your flavor of the month where these guys are going to go. Okay, so before we rank these guys and say they're not good quarterbacks and solid quarterbacks, let's read some of Daniel Jones' weakness and see if you guys can tell me. This will be fun. You guys can tell me if you see an increase in this weakness. Now, his strengths we don't need to really get into, but we can. But here's Daniel Jones' weakness: thin lower body. I think he's improved there. Had 12 passes batted down at the line, which is kind of crazy in 2018 when he was going in. He does get a lot of passes still batted down. He benefited from heavy RPO action, incessant padding of the ball through progressions. I still think he does that. Waits an extra step before cutting it loose. That's still there. Average speed and release slowed by a small windup. Okay. Attempts throws into impossible windows. Succumbs to off-platform tosses rather than working into better positioning. Again, I still see that now. Loose ball handling in the face of pressure, which leads to fumbles. I wonder if that weakness has gotten better. Probably not. Too much bravado as a runner, which has gotten him injured, right? Took licks when slides or dashes out of bounds were options. Well, guess what? 3 years in, we still have some of those weaknesses on his profile. Now, I'm
Yeah,
not
but
trying.
one thing real quick though about like the fumbles, the handling of the ball, he has gotten better with that. I mean, it's still
we
not
have to
good,
we have to give him some
but he
credit. Yes.
has gotten better. I mean, like from his first year till now, it's not great. It's not where it needs to be still, but it's better. I mean, it is better. I had to say, like his first rookie year, he fumbled as soon as you touched him every single time. It seemed like.
Well, Mac, I agree with you. But someone sent me a clip today. I think it was because Miz loves to get my goat, right? And he was like, "Oh, get used to this, blah blah blah." And shows Daniel Jones dropping a dime to Darius Slayton against Minnesota. So I went and I got a highlight from him, and it was Daniel Jones 2021 against Denver. And guess what? He's dropping back on third down, runs the football, gets hit by a linebacker, and up. What does he do? Coughs up the football. Okay. And these are the type of things that he needs to work on going forward, right? You can't be in a critical juncture in the game, be a runner, and get hit and lose the football. I don't care about in the pocket fumbles because sometimes the defensive end comes around the corner and knocks it out, right? That sometimes you're down a receiver. So this would help with pocket presence, though. Maybe if you move a little bit, you wouldn't get those strip fumbles. But my point is, I can't always be mad about that because sometimes the tackle gets beaten. What I get mad about is you putting your head down, getting injured. What I get mad about is when you run the football and there's two linebackers there and you're like, boom, and you get hit and it's a fumble. And what is his weakness coming out? Too much bravado as a runner. And he doesn't take the slides and dashes out of bounds. These are still the same problems that we have. And this was 2018 going into 2019 draft class. Now, let's
So
read.
real fast, Adam, before you continue reading, let's just get into Miz's comment. He said, "You can't draft a quarterback, bro. Stop it. These quarterbacks are trash."
Well, that's what I'm saying, is if you were listening to what I just said to you.
Get out QB.
If you listen to what I'm saying, I'm not saying to draft a quarterback now to be a starter. My stance is you need a quarterback to be a backup quarterback. But if you look at the rankings, right? If you look at the rankings, guess what? Matt Carroll is ranked higher than Daniel Jones going into the combine. But Daniel Jones is a 6th round pick. We don't want to pick that. We don't want to listen to the numbers. 6.3 with Kenny Pickett. Okay? 6.3. And he has weaknesses that we don't know know if he's going to get better at. Right? He needs better timing, would prevent contested catches, can improve at making leading throws. These are things that are practical to do, right? And let's look at the player comp for Kenny Pickett. I mean, Kenny Pickett's player comp's not great. It's Andy Dalton. I don't want that, but he's ranked higher than Daniel Jones. Let's go to Malik Willis. Let's see if he has a player comp in here. They said his NFL player comp is Jay Cutler arm with Jalen Hurts body style. Kind of interesting when you think about that. You know who Daniel Jones' player comp is? Don't worry,
Ryan
guys.
Tannehill.
This is going to be great. Yes, you guessed it. Ryan Tannehill. Great player comp, right? Desmond Ridder, the guy that we were talking about, Mac, his player comp. Again, this is all projection. I'm just having fun with it. So before Miz, you jump down my throat and be like, yo, bro, you don't know what you're talking about because they're not taking a quarterback. This is just, we're playing a game here. We're playing a game here. That's all we're doing. And I'm just showing you that the rankings of these quarterbacks are the same rankings as Daniel Jones, and that guy got picked 6th overall.
Well,
and what did he do?
Okay. Now, maybe we didn't need to pull the trigger on him at number 6, and we can all definitely agree with that. But can we also all agree that when we look back at that quarterback draft class, the only quarterback that's truly outperformed Daniel Jones is the guy that went number 1 overall in Kyler Murray? I mean, can we agree with that?
Yes, but that's not saying much.
It's not saying much, but that's what I'm saying. We maybe didn't need to pull a trigger at number 6, but it looks like we still did draft the second best quarterback in that draft class. I mean,
Miz, that running at the goal line wasn't the play I'm talking about. The play I sent you when he fumbled the football, getting hit, trying to go for a first down. That's the play I'm talking about. You can't blame that on the offensive coordinator. That was Daniel Jones saw the play break down, and he decided to run the football, and he was trying to get a first down, and it cost us the football. Those are plays that hurt the team. And if you're going to hurt the team, we're going to need to find a guy that's going to do better than that. If you're going to be a game manager, I can't have you turn the ball over in critical times.
And trust me, we're going to open up the lines in a bit. All you guys can feel free to call in and debate and have fun with it. And keep in mind, we all want the best for the Giants. And we all may have different takes on things, but as long as we can all be respectful, and that's all we want. But yeah,
the point I'm trying to make is that yes, we may not like the quarterbacks and we may not pick one, but there might be a guy that drops to us that we can pick up as a backup. You know what I mean? Yes, hit squad. I know he hasn't had an O-line either, but I'm not talking about that. We already know that he doesn't have an O-line. I'm talking about when it blocks. And see, this is the thing I love about Daniel Jones, right? When we criticize Daniel Jones, right, it's always the offensive line that's brought up. But we never want to look at the plays when the offensive line does block or he does have time and he still makes those mistakes. We don't want to talk about that. No. It's O-line. It must be the O-line because, God forbid, he stands in a pocket and throws. I'm just saying the O-line had nothing to do with him running past the line. They actually held up and made a pocket for him. So he ran through the line and then, I don't know, instead of deciding to hit the ground with the ball, he tried to keep going and fumble. But people don't want to look at that. It doesn't matter. It must be the O-line's fault. That must be the O-line's fault. The O-line's fault for Daniel Jones running and fumbling the football. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about isolated problems with Daniel Jones. I know the offensive line sucks. I'm watching the same games you're watching every Sunday.
Well,
we're talking about the same thing on everybody's podcast every week. Same thing. O-line. I'm talking about when the O-line blocks or he does things without the ball or without the O-line, can he hold up? And when you're fumbling the ball on the third down, when the game is out of reach, those are plays we don't need.
All right, Stephen A. We're going to have to pause real fast, Stephen A. We're going to turn it to our co-host, Mac, and he has a few words to say. I'm just joking.
I say something real quick, man. Adam, okay, because I know exactly what you're saying. We talk about when he's running the football, and I agree. He needs to protect himself more. Where do you think he gets that from? I don't understand because most quarterbacks don't have that kind of mentality to want to take on linebackers. So does he? I've never seen Daniel Jones' high school highlights. Is he? Maybe I'm gonna assume since he went to a big Division I school, he's made it to the NFL. He must have been a pretty damn good quarterback in high school. I would assume.
He was a decent quarterback in high school. He was about 5'11", and getting destroyed as a high school quarterback then too.
Was he?
They went back and they looked at his high school tape, but he was the thing that separated him was he took a hit. right? He could take a hit. So eventually played AAU basketball in Duke, and he actually could have been, they said, a basketball player on Duke's basketball team if he wanted to be.
Wow.
He decided to play football. Now, the thing that people loved about him is here. Let me read some of his positives, right? Just because we don't want to talk just negatively on him. Here's a positive. Benefited from working under a QB guru and David Cutcliffe at Duke. Well, guess what? That's helped, but not immensely. He did more with less at skill positions. I don't see that right now, but quick worker through progressions. Early recognition of deep ball opportunities and feather throws into a target. Now, if you guys didn't know and didn't follow, they were blasting this kid. Oh, he can't throw deep, he can't do this, he can't do that. That's all a lie. He done all of it. The problems that you're seeing now are he stares down his receiver. But let's keep reading some other things. Drives field side throws with velocity. Yes,
Adam, move fast. Before you keep on reading the other things, let's address Mrs. comment.
No, I understand. Joe's may not be the guy, most likely, Adam, but got to be fair regardless. Him or the next QB, we must address O-line. Yes, Ms. No. I understand that. We know that. That's like telling me that my hair is curly. I understand what we need. Where the argument here is I'm beyond that point because I know the offensive line needs to be fixed. My problem is somebody said it best, and we'll get into our conversation that I had with Buko and Miz. Buko, a friend of mine, he's a Jet fan, but he knows a lot about football. We always have a discussion.
And he's a fan of the show. Buko's
he's a fan of the show. I don't know if he's watching right now. Probably not. He's probably on a treadmill somewhere, working out. He loves to work out. Him and Miz, they're probably listening on the treadmill side by side right now at the gym. But
we got to get Buko on the show like AJ. Like he'll call in from the gym and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like a Pat McAdoo.
But Buko said something that was interesting to me. He goes, the Giants are like the Jets. You're going to punt this season, right? It's not going to be a great season. You're going to punt it. And you're working towards 2023, right? So that's fine with me. But then it begs the question, why am I going to keep a guy like Barkley, who we can also talk about? Why am I going to keep a guy like Jones just for them to not be here next year and just for them to be another losing season with them, right? Especially when Joe Shane says something along the lines of, I want more at-bats for, my football team. In terms of draft picks, draft capital. So my that's what I think. Now, to answer your question, Mac, I don't know. He has 3 different coaching staffs, yet he still runs the football with his head down. I mean, he's had who was it? Pat Shurmur, okay, right? Pat Shurmur, QB guru, couldn't get him to slide, okay. Then you have Jason Garrett for 2 years, and yet he still does the same thing. Mind you, the play on the goal line, right, that people keep talking about with Dallas, it was a designed run that the defense did not get fooled on. So I can't necessarily blame the call because the defense got it right. What I can blame, though, is him trying to go head first at the goal line trying to make a play. Because, again, that's that bravado we're talking about. Sometimes it's just better to live another day and let your defense try and see if they can get a safety or get the ball back for you. Instead, he was like, I got to score a touchdown here because I have a bunch of trash cans as my receivers, and I'm the only player, so let me make a play.
But I also think as the mentality he could possibly have with that situation is that he's probably over years of playing football, went through high school, college, he's probably won more of those battles than he's lost, and now he's got to realize I'm in the NFL, and these guys – ain't the guys I should be. These aren't the kind of linebackers I should be taking on. Like you said, he's got to understand the level that he's playing at now, and this is not. You're not going to win those battles as often as you might have won in college or in high school or whatever. That mentality comes from. I think it's a mentality within his own mind that he's just used to winning those type of battles. You know what I mean? And he's got to understand that this is not the level to be trying to take. Like you said, taking on linebackers and defensive linemen. You're just you're a quarterback, and you're supposed to be the franchise quarterback.
To get back into the combine and draft talk, I mean, Daniel Jones, this is how it started, right? He goes into the draft. The guys want to know. This brings it back to the question that's being asked, and we'll get back into Daniel Jones and the rest of the team as well. But what if a team wants a quarterback? You know what I'm saying? Like, guys fall in love. We fell in love with Daniel Jones after 3 series at the Senior Bowl, right? 3 series at the Senior Bowl, they fell in full bloom love. We don't know who's looking at what, who's looking at where. And if these guys are ranked similarly to Lance Zierlein and people, the NFL, they do look at these draft rankings. People will be comparing them side by side. If they think that he is comparable, guys will get drafted. You know what I'm saying? The quarterbacks will go overdrafted. Now, for the Giants, I'll give you my take on what I think they're going to do. First off, the combine, like I said, is on Thursday. I don't know exactly when everybody runs, right? But this is when you're going to see the free agency stuff start to happen, right? The trades, the rumors, who's going to possibly be cut, who's not going to be cut, right? And then, you'll get to meet with different players. This is where you're going to unearth some of the things. If Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett and Matt Corral and whoever else, if they throw, I don't know if they're going to do anything. I have no idea. There's speculation. Some will, some won't. But if they go out there and they interview well, they test well, right, it only boosts their stock. See, Daniel Jones' stock started to rise at the combine. He hit all his throws. He showed him a little bit more arm strength. He ran a 4.6 at his 40 time, at the combine at one of his times. So people were enamored with that. And then, boom, he had his pro day, threw every throw, and now he's drafted.
That brings me to a point right there. Just if you give me 1 second again, give me another point. Because that's why my take on the combine in general is I understand the importance of it, but I still don't put as much stock into it as other people do, because these guys are high-end athletes, and of course they're going to look good in shorts and T-shirts doing these drills. I mean, it just is what it is. And the ones, and that, to me, when you propel these guys based off of what they did in shorts under no pressure, shorts and a T-shirt, I mean, to me, that's not. I gotta gauge these guys on what I saw on the football field when they're in full pads and when guys are out there hitting each other. That's what I gauge. That's what I got to gauge prospects on. It's hard for me to just look at a guy. Look at Darius Hayward-Bay. Runs that amazing 40 at the combine, and he gets way overdrafted. Way overdrafted.
Well, that's the Raiders, man.
I mean, but it's not even just him. He's not the only example of that. You know?
Yes.
I remember a guy named Mike Mamula had this
you brought him up?
an amazing workout at the combine, and the Eagles took him so high in the draft, and that guy never amounted to anything in the NFL.
A bag boy at the ShopRite, right?
So yeah, that's why I just think we put way too much stock into the combine anyway. I get what the importance of it overall is for like just some basic for the basic measurables. Right. But you got to judge these guys on what you truly seen them do on the football field.
Well, I agree with you, Mac, and I agree with Logan's point. I do believe they should run in pads 40, right? Because that's what they're running on a field. They're we're not playing flag football, so why would I need to see you in T-shirts and shorts, right? There are some drills I do believe are important, and that is the 3-cone drill is pretty important for linemen and outside. Right?
That's funny.
You want to do that for the explosiveness, right? But some of the bench press, who cares? They're going to lift 225. I mean, yes, for a lineman that matters. A receiver, I don't really care too much about that because that's not what you're going to be doing. There are some things about it. Now, I heard a rumor when I was talking to someone I know close to me, and he said that the guy who came up with the combine said it was the worst idea he's ever come up with because people are going to overblow it like they do, right? And I think the 40 time is put too much stock in. Remember, Jerry Rice didn't run a 4.4 at the combine or at his pro day or whatever it was. But when you watch his film, he's running by people left and right. So what does that tell you? You know what I mean? If you look at Odell Beckham Jr., they did Evan Ingram and Odell Beckham Jr., I think somebody else, maybe John Ross or something like that, and they showed you like a copy of each player on top of each other on screen, and Odell Beckham Jr. was last. He lost to Evan Ingram, obviously John Ross, and he also lost to somebody else who was on there. Which, okay, so his 40 time was a 4.4. But when you watch that guy play, there are other things that made him so great. His hip movement was great. So he could turn his hips quicker than the cornerback, and he had guys on roller skates. Right? So I don't think the combine tells the whole story. But what it does do is it allows you to explore certain things. I mean, Azeez Ojulari goes to the combine. Was supposed to be a first-round pick, but somehow they find a phantom knee injury from high school, and that just brings him down. Thankfully, he lands in our lap. So there could be things like that. So I like the combine. I think it's more of a showcase for the NFL to kind of, you know, um, be relevant because that's what they love. The one thing that the NFL loves is they love to be in the media. They are content whores. They love to be, talked about, good, bad, or otherwise. They don't care. They do not care. They're just like, we need to be talked about. We need to be talked about 24/7, 365, and that's what they do, right? And so here we are talking about Giants and the combine all together. So they love it. So and I love the combine for just the quarterbacks and the receivers. D lineman, what do I need to see? A big burly guy in tights who's not in the best of shape running around because we want to catch his 40 time. Again, Mac is right. You're going to know on the film if he can play or not. Basically the combine's for medical reports. If you're injured and maybe didn't have a good season, they can come in and say, well, Adam and Zion both blew out their knees and they check out and they're clear to go, so they're a third round grade. Let me do it, right? A guy like that might benefit from going to the combine. What does it benefit you to go to the combine and not throw? That's what I don't understand either. It's like you go to the combine and do nothing.
Well,
like they don't go to the combine.
we do wanna continue this, but we reached time in our show about the 50-minute mark. We're just gonna open up the phone lines, stream lines. You guys can go call in, and we would love to hear from you and talk some topics. Oh, you can continue.
One more
Adam.
thing. Well, if we're gonna, I was gonna bring up one more thing, but not.
Oh,
About,
go right ahead.
Not
Matt.
about the NFL. Not about the NFL.
It doesn't have to be.
I was just gonna bring up if anybody noticed yesterday in college basketball, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6 all played basketball games, and they all went down. They said the first time in history, the top 6 teams in the nation all went down on the same day.
Wow.
I was just wondering.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a little interesting thing I wanted to bring
That is
up.
pretty interesting. Hell yeah. I love
Especially
it.
getting this close to the tournament, getting ready for the tournament, it's going to shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, I think, the interesting thing about the tournament is that, who's going to be the darling this year, who's going to come out of nowhere. I mean, the tournament is exciting for the atmospheres and the people who upset specials, right, and watching some of these kids. But the basketball game, if you watch the NBA and you focus on the NBA and then you try to jump into college, it's hard because the rules are different, things are different, the athletes are different. So, it's one of those things where I like the NCAA tournament, but I'm not an avid person. I don't fill out a bracket. If you fill out a bracket, more power to you. That's one of the big things that DraftKings is going to do, bracket busting. So I love to hear bracket busting. It's great.
Absolutely. I love the tournament. I love the first couple of days of the tournament. Nothing like it. To me, it's the best couple of days in sports for me, in my opinion. I just love the first couple of days of the NCAA tournament, man. I love seeing those number 12 teams, number 12 seeds taking down those number 5 seeds.
I do too.
It happens every year. That's something about that matchup, the 12-5 matchup every year, man. Always bracket busters, man.
I love it. I love it because it means spring's coming. It's like finally we're out of the doldrums of winter, and then it lasts till about early April. It's always fun. We'll see what happens. I don't follow it as much as I do the college football because the NFL draft is such an event, right? That the NBA draft is like a time stamp after the finals. A random Thursday, after we get the lottery is more exciting than the actual NBA draft, right? It's true. It's like but hey, now, so anyone who wants to call in, the link is in the description section.
Lines are open, gentlemen. And if any ladies out there, y'all welcome to call.
Oh, let's while we're waiting for someone to pop on, WWE seems to be heading down a unification belt type of match, which we kind of figured, but I would like to a little more than that from the WWE. I feel like that was a bit of a
cop-out.
Yes,
it's a cop-out.
Especially when I do like this potential match, AJ Styles versus Edge. I'm hearing rumors that might happen.
You see the promo? The promo on Monday Night Raw Edge did in the ring? That was he was dropping all kinds of hints that is AJ Styles' opponent looking for WrestleMania. He was dropping those little hints in that promo.
He just had, well, you can call in, Miz. So if you don't want to, we're waiting for y'all to call in. So filling some
We have
time.
our first caller. It's LGZ Productions. Everybody give a round of applause for LGZ Productions.
Yay!
Yeah,
Logan,
LGZ. All right. What's up, LGZ? Thank you for calling in.
welcome to the show, brother.
I appreciate it. I have one question for y'all. Do the Raiders pay Derek Carr the bag?
Ooh.
Do they give Derek Carr the bag? Interesting question.
I'll let Adam take it or Mac if you guys want to take it.
That's a tough.
I'm just
choice,
processing a thought. I want to make sure I'm giving a concise answer.
They have a tough choice to make. I tell you, because Derek Carr is certainly better than anybody they can acquire in the draft, and probably better than anybody they can acquire off free agency at this point.
Yeah.
But
I'd have to say yes, and the reason I'm saying yes is it's hard to find franchise quarterbacks. Obviously,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
And if you get rid of him, who are you going to sign? What, you're going to get rid of him for Marcus Mariota? Like, that's just, to me, doing yourself a disservice when you just went to the playoffs and we're basically an overtime game away from advancing, right? You know, if it's not a field goal, there was things that happened in that game that the Raiders could have won with a coach that wasn't even on their team. Let Josh McDaniels get his hands on this guy and let's see what he can do, right? So I would say yes, you know.
Not for what it's worth. I mean, look who this guy, man, has pretty much turned Hunter Renfrow into a all-world superstar receiver. Hunter Renfrow. And I'm not knocking Hunter Renfrow. I'm not knocking him whatever hard work he puts in. Yep. When you look at this guy's measurables, it doesn't stack up to most of the other top-end receivers in the league.
He's built like me.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There was a picture I saw on the internet with him standing next to DK Metcalf out totally in street clothes. You would not be able to believe that these two guys play the same position in the NFL and play damn near at the same level.
He's the pizza delivery guy. That's what he is. Right? I'm going to start calling him the delivery man, right? Because he looks like he could deliver your pizzas, on the weekend. But
if not for just that alone, I mean, Derek Carr, to me, just getting a guy like that to play at that kind of level, man, to me, is saying he's probably worth keeping around as my quarterback. I mean, there's that picture right there. It's just like, what the hell? These two play the same position in the NFL?
That's funny.
It's like when you have Yao Ming and Muggsy Bogues.
What's up, Philly B? Thanks for watching, my friend. Let's get
it. But Logan, you brought up something interesting, right? Derek Carr, I guess me and Mac agree that they would keep him, give him the bag. What about Aaron Rodgers? Because, see, to me, this guy is bringing up drama, and he reminds me of another Green Bay quarterback who did the same thing when he was leaving, a guy by the name of Brett Favre. Brett Favre, obviously. I was making a joke if anyone's seen something about Mary, but Brett Favre did the same thing, right? To Green Bay. Oh, I'm not playing. I'm going to come back, blah, blah, blah. At one point, Green Bay gave him a $20 million contract to stay away for the next decade. They were like, we will pay you $2 million a year to not play football. And he didn't take it, right? So now here we are. And mind you, Aaron Rodgers was like, you need to leave, Brett. You can't be doing this to the team, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, he's doing the same thing 20 years later. I wonder who he learned it from. Give me
the exact same thing.
It's carbon copy.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone knows that contract dispute, Logan, you might have been a little young. Mac remembers. Zion, remembers. Like, that was like a big thing in 2008 because he's like, oh, I don't want to play. And then he gives this heartfelt, teary-eyed speech. Then in the middle of the summer, he's like, I want to come back. And Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be the starter. He's like, F you, old man, kick rocks. I'm the starter. All you're doing is, being a drama queen.
Thank you for being here, Levance. Thank you, buddy.
Right, and then all of a sudden he goes to the Jets and then goes to the Vikings and then retires because his body breaks down. So here we are with Aaron Rodgers, and it's like, oh, I'm retiring. I don't want to be a part of Green Bay. I love Green Bay. Like, give me a break, man. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I've seen this song and dance before. That's why I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a drama queen, man. I'm over the whole Aaron Rodgers saga. It's just
not gonna lie to you. I don't even think he's the greatest quarterback ever. They make him seem like he's friggin',
he's a fraud.
Joe Montana, right?
He's had some really good situations, better than people like to admit. You know what I mean?
I give you that. I'll give you that.
He's played with some really good receivers over the years. He's had some good receivers to throw the football to through most of his tenure. He's had
in the playoffs? How many big games has he
That's
lost?
it. That's what I was getting ready to get to that. Yeah, he never seems to get over the hump in the big one. I mean, he did get the one Super Bowl. He got the Super Bowl run. I'll give him
Yeah, but
that. You
wasn't
can't
that
take that
mostly
away
the
from him.
defense because Clay Matthews played out of his mind that season.
Clay Matthews played at an MVP level that year, and
Like we forget how good that defense
Oh
was
my
for
God,
him,
I miss Clay Matthews. He's such a good player.
right? Because
and
in the next year they win the Super Bowl in 2010. The next year they go to the championship game. They're 15-1. I think in 2008 they were good as well, but in 2009 I don't know what happened. But after that Super Bowl run, because I think in 2009 they lost to the eventual representative in the Super Bowl at some point, right? I think they lost to New Orleans, or actually no, that was the year they lost to Brett Favre, and the Minnesota Vikings
Minnesota
lost
Vikings.
to St. Louis, New Orleans. Then the next year they're the best team, well, not the best team in football, they're a wild card team. They happen to play Pittsburgh, right? If you mind you, that year I think the Giants could have done something because they were 10-6 and they kicked everybody's ass, but.
Yeah.
We lost the Eagles, and that's another story. And then the next year, he's 2011, he's 15-1. They go up there 15-1, and the guy has a strip fumble, doesn't need an open receiver, and is one and done, right? Then the next year, he comes back, same kind of thing. Advances in one game, and gets booted. We go to 2016, another season we think he's going to do it. They beat the Cowboys in a crazy divisional matchup, only to lose the next year. Then, well, let's fast forward to 2019, 2019, who did they lose to? They lost to
The Niners.
the Niners, right? Then the next year, who did they lose to?
The
Tampa
Bucks.
Bay. Then the next year, who did they lose to? 49ers again. And these games, they were all in Lambeau.
Yes, they were.
All in Lambeau.
He's lost a lot of big playoff games that people kind of seem to not want to mention when talking about all his greatness. They never want to bring the fact up that he has really shit the bed in a lot of big playoff games over the years.
He's a fraud.
Thank you,
Good
bro.
point.
I appreciate
Exactly, Mac. That's what I'm saying. It's like okay, so we don't want to look at certain things, and I think that's how we look at certain fans or certain players. Is we don't want to see the bad that they do, or erase the bad that they do, or forget the bad that they do because they're great during the regular season. Great job. Mahomes right now has one Super Bowl title. That's great. You get 2 Super Bowl titles. Now we're starting to talk. I mean, Trent Dilfer's got a Super Bowl title. Brad Johnson's got a Super Bowl title. I mean, my point is that for a guy that is the MVP of the league, he gets one and done most of the years.
Joe Flacco has a Super Bowl title.
I don't mean to segue to this because I know this usually spirals out of control. But that's what annoys me when people look at me when I'm talking about Eli and they say all he did was win 2 Super Bowls. That's it. Stop saying that. Stop saying just winning 2 Super Bowls is nothing. Because that's it's as like I said, I tell people this all the time. If ask Dan Marino, he'd trade his whole damn career if he could just have 1 Super Bowl. And you talking about all Eli did was win 2. And I'm not saying that to be like Eli's better than Dan Marino or anything crazy like that. I'm just saying that these guys play this game to win championships. That's what they play for.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
Get to a Super Bowl. The fact that you're just throwing it out the window, like, what does he have? His 2 Super Bowls, and like you're devaluing the Super Bowl by saying that. And you can't devalue the Super Bowl because we have teams like the Chargers that never even won one.
Right.
The whole history.
Teams never played in one.
Teams that never even played in one. So the fact that Eli Manning, you can say he had a defense in 2007, but in 2011, that's all him.
Right. Well, but Zion, I want to point out something you guys were saying. It's like, we're throwing out the Super Bowls. That's how they measure a lot of these guys. That's how they make a measuring stick on if you're great or not, is by the rings you have on your finger, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like Eli Manning. You know what the problem with Eli Manning is? 2 things. 1, he looks like a doofus. Okay. And 2, he's Peyton Manning's brother. Right? Like I said, if you put Daniel Jones's name on the back of Eli Manning's nameplate and he has the same career, we're talking about, he's a Hall of Famer. Look what he did. Blah blah blah. The fact that Eli Manning, ended up 500. That's not his fault, right? Yeah. He can only do what he can do when it's on the field.
Yeah.
The fact that he has interceptions, Brett Favre has the most interceptions in NFL history, but
300.
He also has.
Eli's still not even really close to him in that category, honestly.
Right.
pretty
And then
good distance.
you talk about the things like he played in New York, right? Wasn't a system that it's a quarterback friendly system, right? I mean, they did do a lot of play action, throw the ball downfield, but let's be honest, they weren't an open like at 49ers West Coast throw the ball all over the yard when they first started with Tom Coughlin. And then you have the fact of the matter that people don't realize is we're talking about a guy who inside of 2 minutes was one of the best quarterbacks to get the ball with too.
Yep.
In
So
2011
much
alone, he had like 9
game-winning fourth
comebacks.
quarter drives.
Absolutely.
9 comebacks. People don't talk about that.
Absolutely.
He should have been the MVP that year, but of course they gave it to Aaron Rodgers or somebody else along those lines.
Rodgers.
And I think we went into Green Bay and beat them on our way to the 49ers.
They were 15-1 that season.
The guys beat Aaron Rodgers
Beat the
twice.
shit out of him.
Yep.
Twice.
It wasn't even
Remember
a
when we beat
competitive
the shit out of
game.
the most
It wasn't
dangerous
even a
offense
competitive
in the
game.
Falcons? Maybe they called the Falcons the most dangerous offense in the NFL. We went down. They barely scored 2 points on us.
Right. The thing is that's what I'm saying is like you can only be measured on your peers. Eli has had one of the best playoff runs in the history of the NFL. If you look at his numbers, right? He was a guy that if you gave me the ball inside 2 minutes, I am not afraid of, what the outcome is going to be because I know Eli is going to put us in a position to get downfield, right? Those are some of the things that I equate to Daniel Jones when I evaluate him is can he bring us back inside of 2 minutes? This is another reason why.
Real fast, Adam. Logan, stick around. We're gonna let you back on, but we don't want to let it get too crowded. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring on Slave for a bit. But stick around, Logan. We'll get you back on the show soon. Okay, buddy?
All right, I got you.
All right, thank you,
Thank
bro.
you. And thank you for bringing this up because it manifested into a different topic. So, Logan, thank you. But my point is like,
What up, Slave? Thank you for joining.
Yeah, Slay, how are you?
What's up?
We're talking about like Hall of Fame quarterbacks, right? And I'm like we always overlook Eli because of the few factors I mentioned. And I'm going, like I said to Mac, I'm going, and Mac's welcome to join me. I'm going to be there at Canton, Ohio, when his bust is revealed. That is my guy. I mean, some people have Phil Simms. I think Mac's guy might be Phil Simms because he's a little older than me.
Nah, my guy is Eli, man.
Well, then Mac's guy is Eli as well. Some guys like Phil Simms, which is fine. But me, that's when I finally knew about quarterbacks was when I was 20. We got rid of Kerry Collins. We kicked Kurt Warner to the curb, and we got a guy named Elijah Manning. And he not only did I meet him, he's the only player that's ever left me starstruck. When I met him, I was a loss for words when I saw the guy.
I mean, he ignored the hell out of me when I saw him in Canton, Ohio. When I went to go see Michael Strahan get in, Eli Manning literally walked right past me. I yelled his name out. He just kind of, the Eli look and kept moving. Didn't really acknowledge me, but it was okay. I still got mad about Eli,
Zion, you're on mute, man.
You're on mute, Zion.
I used to go to the Pro Bowl a lot, and because it was in Hawaii, and that was the only access to the NFL. One thing cool about Aloha Stadium is it doesn't matter if you have like nosebleeds or wherever the fuck you're sitting. Before the game starts, you can go literally like all the way down to the first level and basically be like 10 feet above these athletes, right? That's right, they're practicing. So me and my friend's uncle, we rolled down there, and then like he's like a big Vikings fan at the time, so he's like, Jared Allen, like he's screaming Jared Allen's name, and then Jared Allen looks up, and then he's like, hey, he gives him that shaka, and then like my friend's uncle was like, here, look, Eli's coming out, Sean, do the same thing to Eli. So I'm like, yo, Eli, and then like, Eli's like looking like this. I'm like, Eli, and then he goes like that. He's like, he gives that laugh. I'm like, oh shit, that's the only contact I ever have with Eli Manning. Like we locked eyes, no homo. And like, you know what I'm saying? That was really cool. So from your experience, I'm sorry that he walked past you. Maybe he was just has too much things he was thinking in his mind or something, and he was focused. It looked like he had to go someplace, but you made me remember that experience. So
it was funny because David Tyree tried to do the same thing to me. He's walking past, I yelled his name, David Tyree, and he didn't even acknowledge me. But then as soon as I yelled helmet catch, he looked right at me, and I got a great picture of him, man. It was awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
That's amazing.
What's up, Slave? What you want to talk to us about?
Hey, man, I am chilling. I heard y'all conversation about Eli Manning. I agree, even though I'm an Eagles fan. I do think a lot of people overlook Eli because he wasn't the most flashiest player in the NFL when he played, but he won games. He put up good stats, and he had 2 rings when he retired, and he beat the GOAT. So you
I
have
agree
to
with that.
respect that.
I agree with that, Slay. That's the biggest issue
I
people
like
have
that.
with Eli Manning because all these other guys are big rah-rah guys. They attention seekers when they do things. It's all look at me, Aaron Rodgers with his championship belt thing he does and all the other whatever stuff. People like always Eli was never that guy. Eli throw a touchdown pass and he'll go give somebody a high five and but he go right back to the sideline, man. It's not about anything else. This is about doing his job and getting it done. And he just did it gracefully,
Facts.
man. And it
Showed
wasn't
up
Smart.
on
he didn't
time
make
every single day.
yeah, didn't make it about himself. It was
Yep.
always a team guy.
He was the ultimate. He was the definition of a team player. And
You gotta
and
respect that. I mean, any player that does
yep.
that, you gotta respect it.
And like was we were so spoiled as Giants fans to have him start and not miss a game. Like that's just we're so spoiled like that. Here we are talking about Daniel Jones' future. He's haven't never played a full season in his NFL career yet. You know what I'm saying? The guy's been injured every year. Like you got to take that in consideration too. So I'm not trying to get back on the Daniel Jones talk. My thoughts on Daniel Jones is closer to Adams than anything. Like I love the guy, but at the end of the day, it's like I'm tired of making excuses with him. I do want to see him succeed against against a good offensive line and succeed with the good offensive line. But that's something we took advantage with Eli Manning is his ability to just always be there and always show up. Like Daniel Jones, like I said, I'm going to repeat it. Daniel Jones has not played more than 14 games in the season. You know,
Hmm.
like let's
Eli
be
was
real
always
about that.
available. He was always available.
Mm-hmm.
And even in Daniel Jones' rookie season, it probably wasn't easy for Eli to step back in as the backup quarterback, but he still did what he had to do when Daniel Jones went down his rookie season, stepped in and played those couple of games, and then also gracefully bowed out again for the last couple of games of the season that Daniel Jones is ready, got healthy, and came back in and started the last couple of games of the year again. So Eli was always the consummate professional, man. That never goes into any consideration when people talk about should he or shouldn't he be a Hall of Famer. But the way people just dismiss it, like it's like not even something that people that should be brought up, is ridiculous to me, man. Eli Manning, they try to say things like he never made players better. That's false. That's absolutely a false statement. I mean, look at like I said, I can go through all these several no-name tight ends that we had that Eli Manning
Here's the
made good
player
while
too,
they were here
Mac.
in New York.
It's like I hated him, but I respected him. But if you want to sit here and you want to argue, oh, not you, Mac, but if they, they try to sit here, people try to sit here, not on this stream, just in general. People try to say in general that Eli Manning and debate his Hall of Fame stats. Okay, we can sit here and we can debate his, his first ballot Hall of Fame stats. We can sit here and debate that for sure. But Eli
Absolutely.
Manning, you can't sit here and debate. Not like we're debating, but they can't sit here and debate that Eli Manning is not deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. A quarterback that we can is Tony Romo. Tony Romo is a perfect quarterback that we can debate to see. Some people may say Tony Romo deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Others may say Tony Romo doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? That's a player where we can really sit down and really debate. So when people try to come at you or come at anybody about Eli Manning doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, I just don't. I just discredit what's the next words out of their mouth.
Tony Romo has never won an important game
Right?
ever. Ever.
Exactly.
Eli Manning is the jack.
Really.
And that's Logan.
Yeah, he's never
Yeah,
won an
but
important game
man.
ever, man.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Romo is kind of like interesting because Dak Prescott is in the same boat. Like Cowboys have basically wiped away Tony Romo's, tenure there, and they think it's Dak Prescott and Troy Aikman, and even Troy Aikman, they're like, oh, Dak Prescott's better. So to me, like, if Kurt Warner can get in the Hall of Fame, anybody can get in the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying Tony Romo's a Hall of Famer, but I don't even think Kurt Warner's really a Hall of Famer. Hell, Terrell Davis, come on.
I don't think Kurt Warner should have necessarily been. I think just with the length of his career, he shouldn't have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm not going to totally dismiss him being in the Hall of Fame with things he accomplished in his career, but I feel like his career wasn't really truly like
I think it was
Especially,
storybook. Yes, it was storybook.
yeah,
He went from stocking shelves to holding up
yeah.
Lombardi. Great,
Yeah,
good
he
job.
had
And he
good.
had one of the great years of any quarterback ever. I mean, in
Right.
that first year, I mean, can't take. And they took the Cardinals to the Super Bowl. They didn't win it, but they took the Cardinals to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So
That's
Right.
that's that's
But he
facts on
also
that.
cost them with an interception to James Harrison.
he
Yeah.
did.
We'll
But
fast, gang. I love the conversation. Matt, go ahead and make your point.
I was gonna say, but you also mentioned, like you said, Terrell Davis. I remember, and specifically Terrell Davis on NFL Network one day was absolutely trashing Eli Manning, having a conversation about Hall of Fame and Eli and Terrell Davis of all people just trashing Eli Manning, saying there's no way he should be a Hall of Famer. He doesn't measure up and this, that, whatever going on and on and on. Terrell Davis, you played like 5 years, bro. I don't know why you're in the Hall of Fame, and I don't know, and I don't
Get him.
know. I don't even know how you're going to you can validate putting Terrell Davis in the Hall of Fame, and yet Bo Jackson is still not immortalized in Canton. Give me a break.
Right.
Give me a break.
Oh, hey, don't steal my line. I'm just kidding.
Tell him, bro.
Like Bo Jackson would have probably been the absolute best running back that ever lived if he didn't have that devastating hip injury that ended his career. Sometimes you just gotta know. It's like Shannon Sharp was pleading for the NFL to put his brother in the Hall of Fame when he was giving his Hall of Fame speech. Sterling Shepard, another one whose career ended because of a devastating injury. But this guy was absolutely sensational the entire time he was playing
Right.
when he was healthy and able to
He was
play.
better than Rice at some point.
Absolutely. And the
Biggie
fact
Barber.
that you dismiss it and act like, well, his career got cut short, so we're just not going to, acknowledge the fact that he was truly great and act like we don't know that he would have been a Hall of Famer had he been able to complete his career. To me, you got to look past it. And then you put somebody like Terrell Davis in the Hall of Fame who played, like I said, like maybe he played a little more than 5 years, but it wasn't long.
7 seasons.
Well, listen,
around
he
there.
had the 2,000-yard season, which bumped him up, right? He was an MVP, I think, of the Super Bowl. But at the same time, you look at Tiki Barber and you look at Otis Anderson. Both guys ran for over 10,000 yards. Tiki Barber went from being a third down back to basically blowing up the league the last few years he was there. Yet you're going to put in Terrell Davis over him? I mean, Priest Holmes should be in the Hall of Fame. If that's the point. I mean, Priest Holmes is a beast.
Absolutely.
And yet that guy's not in the Hall. I'm just saying, man. Sometimes the Hall, I know it's media people, they should make fans vote in the Hall of Fame.
I would love that. I love that.
Not writers,
Yes.
because people like writers can be biased because they're like, oh, well, this guy didn't give me a good interview or he was a jerk when he played. Like, okay, so Tiki Barber, yeah, he had some transgressions. Yeah, he did the Giants dirty. But if you put his total yards against anybody in the NFL, he's probably in the top 10 because of return yards, receiving yards.
Yeah,
touchdowns.
absolutely.
He has over 15,000 yards combined receiving and rushing, not to mention his return yards. Okay? Give me, like you said, give me a break. I got to come up with a new slogan because you just took mine.
My bad. It just
I love it. I was gonna say, Slay, we're gonna let you have the mic for a bit. I know Logan's dying to get on this Hall of Fame conversation, so we're gonna bring Logan back. But real fast before we do that, Slay, any players that is not in the Hall of Fame that you may want to see get in the Hall of Fame, or if not that, if you want to talk about anything else, you can have the mic for about 5 minutes.
If there's players in the Hall of Fame players that aren't in the Hall of Fame, let me see. I mean,
players that are in the Hall of Fame that should be kicked out.
You can do that too. Yeah, you can do that too. You can even talk about the Hall of Fame at it itself. If you think that fans should vote on it, just you can talk about whatever you want. Slay.
I mean, I think as you said, Davis, and I see Logan putting in the chat, Davis is overrated as hell. I think he is slightly overrated. As Adam pointed out, that 2,000-yard season definitely helped his like
Absolutely,
case
bro.
for that Hall of Fame thing. But I just personally feel like there's a lot of other great running backs who didn't get the nod that should be in the Hall of Fame and aren't in the Hall of Fame. There was a lot of running backs who played way longer and suffered through a lot.
Jamal Lewis.
Yeah.
What's up, Lou? Jamal Lewis has 10,000 yards and a Super Bowl win. And yet, I mean, like, for example,
Banks.
Carl
How is
Banks
Carl
should be there
Banks
too.
not in the Hall
But
of Fame?
like baseball, right? Baseball has like a 300 home run club. You make a 300 home runs, you're basically going to the Hall of Fame, right? So why in the NFL is there not like a 10,000 yard club in terms of running backs? You make 10,000 yards, your name should be on the ballot. Like that's just should be it. Terrell Davis is because he works for NFL Network. It's because he works for NFL Network, and he is got the name TD and played with John Elway and everything like that. That they put him in there. But how, Max, right? How are you going to sit there and say someone's not a Hall of Fame worthy player when your ass shouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame? Okay, Damian Tomlinson, your cohort, was a better running back than you were.
Absolutely.
I can name 5 running backs better than Terrell Davis. Curtis Martin.
Slay, stick around, bro. We'll bring you back on. All right? Stick around, Slay. We'll bring you back on.
How the hell is Sean Alexander not in the Hall of Fame?
That's another one. Yeah,
Sean Alexander. Well, here's the thing about Sean Alexander. I like him. He was a great safety. No, the running back. Sean, you're right. Sean Alexander should be in the Hall. I was thinking about Sean. Sorry, wrong Sean.
Was a Hall of
Sean
Famer.
Alexander, I like him. Remember him? MVP, we passed on him for the great Ron Dane.
Guys, I'm gonna break my own rule.
The GOAT.
Slay here. Everybody be respectful. Try not to overtalk
Ron Dane. Yeah, Leonard Marshall should be in the Hall of Fame. He should at least be in the Ring of Honor with the Giants. I mean, I can't get it.
And I forget who this was. There was someone on Twitter. Well, I was having not an argument. I was having a debate with someone on Twitter about Eli Manning in the Hall of Fame. It wasn't a disrespectful debate. It was a nice debate. Then some idiot says, if you're gonna put Eli in the Hall of Fame, Julian Edelman might as well be in. Go. Okay, I'm not gonna curse on this podcast, but you know what I was about to say.
Give me a break.
I just don't get the Eli hate, man.
Go ahead, man.
Julian Edelman never made a Pro Bowl.
I was saying I don't get the Eli Manning hate when it comes to that Pro Bowl conference. People try to make up all kinds of reasons why he shouldn't be. Oh, he never did this, he never did that. He's only 500. All he did was win 2 Super Bowls. Well,
he's only 6'5".
a pretty big thing. And like I said, there's other things that people say that are just flat out lie. Like I said, he did make players better. Players got worse. Great. Players got worse when they stopped playing with Eli Manning. I'm sorry. Kevin Boss went out to Oakland for some money, from some extra cash. Forget about it. That guy's career ended like a couple years later. I mean, he got Martellus Bennett paid by Chicago. So he got Martellus Bennett paid so much that the Giants couldn't even match the offer and to bring Martellus Bennett back. It just no, especially the tight end position. Like I said, how many other than Jeremy Shockey? How many great tight ends did Eli Manning play with? Nothing.
Don't worry. We'll wait.
Evan Ingram, the great.
He made Kevin Boss. He had Bear Pasco score a touchdown. A dude named Bear Pasco scored a touchdown. Come on.
What is
Jake
that?
Ballard. I mean, they took a guy named Jake Ballard. Jake Ballard had an amazing 2010 season with us, man.
That guy Beckham.
Like, it's just, I mean, killing. And then even with some of the receivers too, man.
Dan Marino is a different animal. He broke passing yards and touchdowns. I mean, that guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Facts. You know, I mean, if you want to put numbers on it, Phil Simms probably should have been in the Hall of Fame, but they're not going to put him in there. He had one of the best Super Bowl percentages in a game.
Adam, he has the best to this day. It is still the best, I believe.
Sorry,
I believe that is still a record.
So, I mean, that alone should get you there, right? Because like Steve Young, is Steve Young in the Hall of Fame, and my man Phil Simms is sitting on the sidelines?
Steve Young backed up Joe Montana for like 7 years.
8. He's like 8.
Right. I mean, come on. And Joe Montana arguably is the best quarterback we've ever seen. And if he were playing in this era, probably would be breaking Tom Brady's numbers. That's how good he is.
He's the best.
Oh, absolutely.
Because people don't understand that guy. I'm telling you, watch that documentary. He played with, bad knees, bad.
Adam's referring to the documentary on Peacock. If you guys know about it.
Joe Montana, Joe Cool or something like that, living under pressure, something like that. But the point is,
Chris Snee should definitely be a Hall of Famer. Chris Snee should also definitely be a Hall of Famer. He was a great offensive guard his entire career with the New York Giants.
David Deal probably not, but Ring of Honor, yes. Chris Snee definitely Hall of Famer.
I love Chris Snee.
Yes.
Chris Snee definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Sam Mills, after how many years, is
Well, he got
finally getting
Fun fact: Evan Ingram's best year was his rookie season. Who's that?
Eli Manning.
That's
Eli
funny.
Manning. Like I said, I know I put a lot of stuff, but Eli Manning knew how to utilize his tight ends no matter who the hell they were. He
Right.
knew how to
Larry
utilize his
Donnell.
tight ends.
Larry
Exact- I
Donnell.
forgot all about that. I forgot all about Larry Donnell. Yeah, another one.
Devin
These just random no-name guys at that position. Eli
Will-
Manning had them all looking competent.
Boss, Kevin.
Will effing Ty. I remember watching the game, and Will Ty gets a catch
good
from
point.
Eli
I like
Manning,
that.
and
I
I
do
go,
like that.
Will fucking Ty. And my girlfriend goes, who the hell is that? I go, some
Oh, I
random
remember Will
damn
Ty.
tight end making a catch. Number 45 doing nothing. Had one touchdown.
No,
And Eli
Travis-
Manning makes him
Travis
service.
Beckham, like I mean,
Yeah, I was
you
just
go
about to
on-
say that.
Did Cliff
on and on
Branch
with these
just
guys,
get
man.
inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Will Ty.
Who?
Cliff Branch, the receiver from the Raiders, he was like this deep threat receiver for them.
Well, he was in a
was
different time, and he went on the senior ballot. He probably should have been in the Hall of Fame earlier, but with all that's going on now, he's in the Hall of Fame as a senior. And yes, you're going to look at his numbers and be like, what's this guy? He played in the 1960s. I mean, come on, like I can't get be a fault a guy for playing in the area he played. Like in Lynn Swann, you look at Lynn Swann's numbers, you're like, that guy's not Hall of Fame, but he won 4 Super Bowls with the Steelers, and that changed the whole dynamic of that team. That whole team is like in the Hall of Fame. Mean Joe Green, Jack Lambert. I mean, they had a ton of guys that are in the Hall of Fame there. And
Lynn Swann wasn't even the best receiver on that team.
right, exactly. And then they got guys in the Hall of Fame that you don't know about, like Kenny Lofton, Hall of Fame receiver. We don't
Lance
know about.
Allworth.
Yes, and Andre Reed should have been in earlier.
Dude, right?
Tim Brown.
Tim Brown is great.
Like, people don't talk about that. Like Marvin Harrison's going to be in. Reggie Wayne should be in the Hall of Fame if he's not.
Marvin's in now. He got in a couple.
James Lofton.
James Lofton, yeah.
And Quan
James
Bolden's
Lofton
about to get in.
Was on that
And
Bills
Quan
team.
Bolden will get in. He should get in. Larry Fitzgerald's going to walk in. They're going to make a wing for that guy. He's the second best receiver in NFL.
And of course, you got Fred Biletnikoff.
I love Larry
Fitzgerald
Fitzgerald.
is again a different era, but yes, he should be in the Hall.
Vance, I don't think
You remember the ghost of the
I
Hall
love
of Fame?
Amari
People go
Toomer,
on
but yeah,
something,
I agree with Mac Levance. Like Amari Toomer is one of my favorite receivers of all time when it comes to the Giants.
but he won't make the Hall of Fame.
But yeah, I don't think he's gonna
9,000 receiving yards, 70 touchdowns.
He is, yeah, he's
But the
best
thing about
Giants
Amari
receiver.
Toomer is like he really wasn't.
What's up, Eagles?
It's
Thank you for
hard
joining,
because
my friend.
He's
to
a
think
special
about
team
Amari
guy his
Toomer,
first couple of years.
I thought
Yeah.
about this the same thing too. Like, what does the Toomer deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? He had some good numbers towards the middle and end of his career, especially when Eli Manning came
Oh,
around.
yeah,
He
fam.
was
If you
the
guys
leading
want to
receiver
call
for a while.
in, AK,
And he's the only guy we had. I mean, think about it. Like, I didn't think of any explosive plays except for when Amari Toomer played.
Just talking draft, talking Hall of Fame, talking football.
So
We real fast, not to interrupt you guys. For the fam watching and watching right now, we have the baseball logo because we was talking about the lockout earlier and it looked cool. So that's why you see that up there. But, mostly talking about football, basketball, the usual sports. So call in, guys, and we'll get you up and we'll get talking. Let's get it.
Oh yeah, by the way, on the baseball, I think, and I don't
Hey, absolutely, bro. That's a guy that is really standing up with his people and standing up for his country. And let's just say, man, things going pretty crazy on the other side of the world, and all we can do is watch and pray for them. And perfect timing to talk about that, and not even talk about that, but to give his takes. And what's up, AK? We'll let you speak for a minute, but we got G Nation. I'm gonna let you guys handle it, and I'll be right back. I'm gonna smoke a stove. But thank you so much for calling in, guys, and let's get it.
I mean, the Hall of Fame, if we're going to keep going down the list, if that's what you guys want to chat about.
Sorry. What's going on?
Slay was, I think it was your turn, but
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
smoke a cigarette real
Oh,
fast.
yeah.
So you guys
I
handle
was
it.
just saying, I think, and I don't want to talk about baseball, but they came to agreement today. They had like 24 minutes to come to agreement on the lockout or something. And the deal was put on the table, but the owners, they just don't want to pay the minor league players. They want to
You
put
got 24 minutes to clear out your locker and get out of Dodge because they're about to invade your hometown next with your hacking ass.
What's good, Lou?
Yo.
What's going on, AK?
Nah, what up, Lou?
Mac? What's up, Adam? What's up,
How you
bro?
doing,
What's up,
G
Zion?
Nation?
What up, bro?
Adam, what's good, Mac?
Hey, Gary, how you doing? Welcome.
What's going
So,
on,
man.
AK?
guys,
Been a
I'm going
minute, guys. Been a minute.
I'm just going to update you. The new guys coming in. We're talking Hall of Fame. You can, or whatever sport we talked about or topic, you're more than welcome to talk about. Right now, we're in the Hall of Fame talk. But if there's something you heard or something you're interested in talking about in the sports world, let us have it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what kind of like Hall of Fame, like already in
Like
Hall of Fame?
we were saying that Kurt Warner doesn't. I don't think Kurt Warner deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Terrell Davis doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. That's a guy I think you got in because he's an NFL Network. If you have a player that you think might or may not or should be in the Hall of Fame, like Randall Cunningham, he's borderline. I think what he did with the Eagles is Hall of Fame worthy.
You.
Like no lie, I agree with you on the Kurt Warner thing, man.
Shame on you, AK.
No, listen, dude. Listen, he has a great backstory. Great backstory. I will never put it down with that, dude. But
fuck his backstory.
Yeah, no, great.
This man brought 2 teams to the Super Bowl. 2 dead-ass teams. Not many quarterbacks can say that they've gone from one team that was shit and brought them to a Super Bowl to another team that was shit and brought them to a Super Bowl. With the exception of Tom Brady, not many other quarterbacks can say they've done that.
Well, I will give you that Cardinals were shit, but they had the greatest show on turf when they brought in the Rams. Kurt Warner. Okay, so they had playmakers everywhere. Yeah, you and I could have probably threw for 4,000 yards.
But hold on, Adam. The quarterback that they had throwing to them same receivers couldn't do shit. So the missing piece was Kurt Warner.
Trent got injured though.
He was sucking before he got injured. He didn't look nothing like Kurt Warner did when Kurt Warner stepped in.
Well, the reality is, if Trent Green didn't go down, we wouldn't be talking about Kurt Warner at all right now.
Exactly.
That's true too, Mac. That is true
too.
He's
probably bagging groceries back in the shop.
And no lie, even Kurt Warner said if he didn't.
Brady. The same.
Yeah, but even
Tom Brady though.
Even Kurt Warner even said, like, if he didn't have those 5 years or whatever it was that he didn't play football and he was just sitting there stocking shelves and shit, it never would have been the same, because that 5 years it took him to mature and to look at life differently. You know what I mean?
Well, that Tom Brady thing is interesting because that was a hit by Mo Lewis and knocked him out. And, I think even Belichick said in that Tom Brady documentary that he was going to move on from Drew Bledsoe at some point anyways. So we don't know. We didn't think this kid from Michigan was going to do what he did. It took a fluky injury because, Drew Bledsoe was tough. He never went out. And that one hit that Mo Lewis put on him basically wrecked his life. Now, you want to talk about a Hall of Fame talent? Drew Bledsoe was a Hall of Fame talent. Never amounted to anything, but, he was the first pick in the draft and pretty good, There's a lot of guys that are borderline.
Drew Bledsoe lost 2 starting quarterback jobs the same way through the injury, man, unfortunately. Got knocked out in New England, and then the Tom Brady story began. And then the same thing in Dallas happened on that Monday Night Football game against us. It was against the Giants on Monday Night Football, and he knocked Drew Bledsoe out, and then the Tony Romo story began. Just on Monday Night Football against the New York Giants, the same way. It's like he's talking about a guy that couldn't catch a break, man. And I think that's the only thing that's truly holding that probably is keeping him out of the Hall of Fame is because people forgot how good Drew Bledsoe actually was, because all they can really remember are the injuries and him losing his spot to these 2 quarterbacks that also went on to have pretty good careers. Well, Tom Brady had a sensational career, obviously.
Didn't they just?
Now, sorry, fellas, I know this ain't sports related. But I'm a motherfucker who loves to shout out real shit. And I got to shout out President Zelensky, the president of the Ukraine, for being a real ass motherfucker. They could have evacuated. They sent the train and helicopter and everything for this man. And he put on a bulletproof vest, grabbed a rifle and said, I don't need a ride. I need ammo. Let's go. My niggas on the front line with his citizens, with his people fighting. That is real as shit. We ain't had a head of statesman do that since George Washington.
And we ain't never going to, so we're never going to.
Yeah, that's fact. Plus, too, we have citizens. There's a 79-year-old lady that is holding a rifle that's ready to defend her nation. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing is, like, I don't want anybody to ever come on my channel and feel that they can't address any issue. Yes, this is a sports show, but come on, guys, it's Zion Zenith. This is not a PG channel, so you guys can talk about whatever the fuck you guys want to talk about.
And the second shout out I wanted to send was to the grandmother, the Ukrainian grandmother, who ran up on the soldier who was armed by his tank and told that man, what are you doing here? Why are you on my land? Straight cursed him out and they gave him some sunflower seeds and told him, put them in your pocket. I look forward to seeing them sunflowers grow when your body dies on Ukrainian land. I said, yo, that old woman tough as shit.
Yo, that's some OG shit right there.
Big Bridge, Zion. Do you know any of those prospects?
To be honest,
Drake
heard their
London.
name.
Yeah, Drake London.
I don't want to talk out of my ass, so I
Drake
like,
London. Out of those two receivers, I would go with Traylon Burks. But Drake London, when he's healthy, he reminds me a little bit of Kenny Golladay. But Drake London, he has to stay healthy.
He played a lot of basketball, so he's a jump ball player. Traylon Burks is interesting because he's got some burner speed. So we'll see where he goes. I mean, they're saying he could be in the top 10, but Drake London is more towards the middle of the first round or early second, depending on who you're talking to.
I've seen
we'll see that
drafts with their names coming up, but as far as looking at them or anything, to be honest, guys, I haven't looked at any single receiver coming out. So I need to actually go and do my research on all of them. And yes, Big Fridge. And thank you, Slade. Thank you, Adam, for breaking that down. And for future episodes, you hear some draft talk and some prospect talks and receivers and other players, because we all similar on the defensive line and the O-line. We kind of know a lot about them already. We'll continue talking about them because that's what we need. But at the end of the day, we are gonna dive into other receivers, other player positions that we might not address early on.
Traylon Burks is the best receiver in this draft.
Traylon Burks, I think he has.
So Garrett Wilson just had a fall off year.
No.
No, but I just think Burks has a higher ceiling.
Yeah, Burks, his ceiling is like, I would say, I don't know if I'm gonna get like hate for this, but his ceiling is honestly DK Metcalf. I think he has that type of potential. He's one of those guys that just mauls you after the catch. He's looking to physically annihilate you.
And Quan Boulder.
I like that. I don't know if AK said about yet, but what's up, AK? Thanks for joining, man. I really appreciate it. How's everything with you, homie?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Sunday.
Before you talk about anybody, go check out the One Red Minds podcast. Great podcast on the Eagles Uncensored channel. Also, too, Logan, if you don't mind, bro, if you can drop some links and also too, he's not only does the Wondering Man, he covers a lot of things sports and Eagles related. So make sure you guys go check him out as well, and all these other great content creators. Logan's about to drop.
Resonate.
Let it resonate.
Let it resonate. Also, too, your weekly ganja Sensimilia podcast that we're gonna have. That sweet marijuana. So let's get it.
That's awesome. But like the combine's coming up, we'll see where these guys.
We'll pass that. I want you to talk, but I want AK to get him what he has to say because I interrupted.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Let's get it.
What? Oh no, I was just. No, man, I just had another Hall of Famer, but let Adam finish his thing because it probably.
It's fine. Adam always talks. Well, you're fine.
Go ahead. No,
this has nothing to do with football Hall of Fame, but it is a Hall of Fame. I think we all need to get our heads out of our asses and realize we need to put Pete Rose in the MLB Hall of Fame already.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Like it's been long enough. Y'all need to realize. Listen, gambling is a huge thing now. Like we just need to push this under the rug and just throw the man in the Hall of Fame. He deserves it 100% more than anyone. Let's get him in.
On that Pete Rose thing,
let's get it.
On that Pete Rose thing, I'm glad you brought that up, AK, because I totally agree with Major League Baseball years ago, back in the '80s when this happened. Because you can't be gambling on your own team and all fixing games, basically, so to speak. So I understood the ban, the suspension, and all that kind of being blackballed back then. But at this point now, we're talking 40 plus years later, whatever, 40, 30 plus years later, whatever. I mean, Pete Rose
still holds records.
Pete Rose is the greatest hitter of all time.
Doesn't he still hold records, Mac? Don't he hold?
Yeah, absolutely. He's still the hit king.
Like three of them, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure about which one. I know he still has the most hits of all time. Still.
How can you deny a man like that out of the Hall of Fame? Come on.
My question though is, even if he was betting on his team, did he play like he was shaving points? I mean, the guy looked like he was playing like a.
He was the coach at the time, wasn't he?
No, it was about when he was the manager, not when he was playing. When he was the manager.
Yeah. Get off that. MLB, get off your high horse. Put the man in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you got guys in the Hall of Fame who did steroids. That's cheating.
Yeah, Mark McGwire. Fucking
Barry
No,
Bonds.
Barry
they're
Bonds.
they're not in the Hall of Fame.
Barry
None of them are in
Bonds
the
did
Hall of
not get in.
He
Fame. None of
didn't
them
get
are in
in?
the Hall of Fame. None of them are in the Hall of
Oh,
Fame.
okay.
None of those
declined.
guys are in the Hall. No Barry Bonds, no Mark McGuire, no Roger Clemens. None of them are in the Hall of Fame.
I understand it, but they were one hell of ball players.
No, as a player though,
I love
my
watching
beef-
Barry
Rose
Bonds
was
play.
a
I
dope
won't lie.
But since we now went down this rabbit hole, my thing with Barry Bonds that irks me a little bit about him not being in the Hall of Fame, specifically with Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, both, is before they were into the steroid thing, they were both phenomenal baseball players.
Yes.
They didn't need to
Before
take
that.
steroids to be good.
Bro,
They
I
did not.
remember watching Mark
I
win
don't, to be honest, guys, I heard of the names, but I don't know his. I don't know.
I
his name.
remember watching Mark win
None
the
of
home
these
run
guys, but
contest, dude.
shit.
He didn't need steroids, bro. Like what? His second year in the league, he put up like what 42 home runs or something like that.
Damn.
Did you guys
I
not
loved.
enjoy the
I
home run
loved
race?
less than 5 hours of baseball in my entire
Did
life.
they
so.
did we not enjoy the home run chase when it was
Right? Right?
just saying.
Exactly. No.
If you're gonna use these guys to do a home run chase and captivate the sports world, and then turn around and say, no, we're not gonna put you in the Hall of Fame, what is that about?
I agree.
And I mean, honestly, bro, without a little bit of performance enhancers, do you guys really expect these guys to be able to swing the bats like they do 185 games a year?
No.
I mean,
No, it's impossible. They'd be wore out halfway through the season. You know what I mean? Like,
the
But do we not
owners,
enjoy the home run derby and the moon shots that go out of the park all the time?
the owners today just don't want to sign any minor league players for like big deals.
Baseball,
like, okay, I'm gonna give you another example. Like, cause Sammy Sosa, he absolutely stunk
Sammy,
when he played for the I don't know what's the White Sox, whoever he played for when he first came into the major.
I
league.
think it was the White Sox.
He absolutely stunk. He was garbage. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this guy just becomes this amazing home run hitter, all this and that. It's like, and he was a product of the steroids. But like I said, you take Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, when he was a little skinny dude in Pittsburgh, he was still slugging it. He was still a great baseball player, man. To me, it's still something to be said about that. Roger Clemens, like I also said, I watched Roger Clemens, the Rocket. You know what I mean? He just be striking people out like crazy back in the day, long before this steroid stuff. He was always great.
Was Joe Jose Canseco on steroids?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, so my point is, steroids didn't make that guy great. He's not even borderline Hall of Fame at all. He was a slugger, but he was not great. So my point is, yeah, they used steroids, but they still were good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like they used steroids and then flopped and weren't good. It's like these guys still were good. Sure, they used steroids. I don't care. How many people went to the stadium to go watch Barry Bonds chase the record? Manny Ramirez go flip a bat every time he hit a home run.
But that's the ignorance of the Major League, right? Major League Baseball, because like you just said, they didn't have a problem when those guys were earning so much money for Major League Baseball on those steroids, hitting all those home runs, filling ballparks up. Major League Baseball didn't have a problem with that. But now you want to punish these guys and not honor any of them for the things they accomplished in their career.
For carrying their sport. They carried the sport when the sport was dying. The home run chase came, and baseball was like not the greatest sport. All of a sudden, Mark McGuire is going for that record, and everybody. We got Fox broadcast in the middle of NFL season breaking into to that game to see him chase the record with Sammy Sosa, and then you're going to turn your back on them? Give me a break.
what I'm interested to see, man, is the last time the MLB had a strike. Now, granted, that was a little bit before my time, but it almost killed them, literally.
Didn't they?
Like, there was no more baseball. None of you would even know baseball right now if it would have ended. But
That's what I was saying.
I don't know if this one they'll come back from. It all depends on how long you say that, Logan, but you're a baseball fan. I'm talking like the old heads and stuff, like people my age and up, the ones that have already been through it once before. Like, we don't give a fuck about your money. We just want to see you play ball.
Right. And I
You
mean,
know, and in the end, I don't know. The MLB will survive somehow, some way, but I guarantee you, the popularity rate, like before, will drop majorly. People will lose respect.
I think they had a lockout or something like this.
Yeah.
And then they resolved
What's
it.
good, Pat?
They
Thank
did
you for
lose,
being here, my friend.
right? And to me, I was saying this before,
Let's
AK,
get to
that
these sports
your
talk.
young
Let's
fans
get
are
it.
who you're going to lose, right? All the people who are excited about it and might play fantasy baseball or something like that, they're going to lose. The old heads, the diehards like us, You know, if we like baseball, we're gonna watch regardless. You can play it on the moon. We don't care. But how long is it gonna take? Because right now we're in March. We're a day or two away from March. We'll be in spring training right now.
Yeah.
Like you said, yeah, you should have players in spring training getting ready, warming up, getting ready for the spring training games, and you have nothing right now, nothing going on.
Like, no lie, man. You want to pull this stunt right now, in the time that we live in the world that we live in right now, and with millions of people out there struggling in the world, y'all want to bitch about money right now, and you think you're gonna get our good grace about that when we're all struggling?
Yeah, no.
I'm good.
That's a good point you bring up too, and it reminds me of John Jones. Like, I love John Jones. He's one of the greatest fighters, but he's asking for more money and at a time that the whole world is going through COVID. Like, I get it. There's a time and a place for everything, and I love that point. That was excellently said.
Yeah, no lie, man. Like, I said it during the middle of the year this year. I was like, bro, pay me $300,000. That's all you need to pay me. I'll make that shit last an entire fucking year, and I'll catch more balls than Jalen Reagor for the Philadelphia Eagles. All I want is $300K. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need $1 million. I know how to live poor.
Right.
You know, like, I don't need $1 million. I can buy a house for $120K and be just fucking happy as hell. You know what I'm saying?
But on a budget. No, but I hear what you're saying, AK. I think that I didn't think about that point. You make a great point. These guys make millions of dollars playing the kids game, you know, and then you want me to feel sorry that you can't feed your kids. Give me a break.
Like, no lie, bro. What is the use of owning a house with 20 bathrooms when you only use one? What's the use of having 20 bedrooms in a house when you only use one?
And like, realize the problem.
What
These
the
guys
fuck?
they live above their means.
Like
all that money, they still live above their means.
Exactly.
Mac, I know you'll remember, Mac. Remember the Replacements movie? During that one interview, the dude walks up and he's like, "Do you know how much insurance is on a Ferrari, motherfucker?" Well, then you shouldn't own a Ferrari, dipshit.
Exactly.
That's why a lot of them have like 12 cars, but they only put insurance on like 2 of them, and then when they want to drive the other 10, the insurance man they drive. But that's beyond the point. That's besides the point. The thing is too, it comes down to, I never had this kind of money, so now that I have this kind of money, I always wanted a mansion, so I don't need the 5 extra bedrooms and the 12 extra closets and the 3 extra bathrooms, but I just think, okay, I'm just gonna get it because I can, and that's the mindset. It's not like
but bro, if you sit there and you live in a 2-bedroom apartment your whole fucking life, you think a 4-bedroom ranch house on like 10 acres would be just fucking good enough.
Works for me
because
not a house with 40 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms that you never
that mindset. A simple life is fine, and they don't have that mindset. They don't have that mindset like you. They don't see a simple life of being fun. They want to be out there flexing, and you think about it, like all these people that's rich start hanging out with richer people, then they realize, damn it, there's levels to this shit. So I want to get richer. You know what I'm saying? So
it's common sense, Zion. It's not really being taught. It's common sense. Like, dude, I'd rather go out and spend $200,000 on a house and then buy a fucking Bentley. A real expensive fucking car.
That's
you
true,
know?
and I love your point, but it's a matter of the fact is when you're operating at that kind of level, they think differently than us. They see their friend say you're a billionaire. Oh, my friend just bought a yacht. Well, I'm gonna buy a better yacht. It's the one upper. It's just it's the lifestyle that they live, bro.
But look, I'm okay with every once in a while you spoil yourself, you treat yourself to nice things, and you can afford it. I'm okay with that. But you gotta also be smart with everything you're doing. Invest your money and make some good investment, good business choices off the field things.
Business
decisions,
absolutely.
And things of that nature. And then also every time you go out to the club, stop buying the whole bar out. Stop buying
college tuition in
your
one
entire
night.
entourage, everything. Your entourage can buy their own shit. You know what I mean? Let them pay for their own drink. You don't need to.
Hey, and to reference that as well, all you NFL players out there that are so fucking smart. The NFL franchises offer cars and drivers for every player. Start fucking using them when you drink. Don't be fucking immature assholes and drive your vehicle because you think you're untouchable because you're an NFL star. Well, use the shit that's free to you. That's why it's there.
And even if you don't want to use that, call yourself an Uber or Lyft.
Yeah, don't be stupid. You got millions of dollars and Uber's chump change to you. Come on.
The thing that the lockout does is it doesn't affect the big time players, right? It affects the guys down the salary pipeline, right? The ones that don't make as much money as these guys, because the guys who make the most money, they don't care about a lockout. They're getting paid their guaranteed $25 million a year, whatever. It's like the younger guys. Plus, the other people I'm worried about, people who work at the stadiums. You know what I mean? They make a living like that. You know, especially if you're in baseball, it's more full time than any other sport out there, right? Because you're basically from April to almost October. So those people now don't have an income who might have been relying on that income. I know that they didn't have it in 2020, but now 2021, you know, you have fans in the stands. These people want to come back to work. They want to, you know, they want to get their lives back. They want to, you know, do better things. You know what I mean? Those people we don't think about because, yeah, you go buy a hot dog at a stadium. That's somebody who works there. That's their paycheck. Yep. That's what they do to eat. You know what I'm saying? And we're sitting here worried, excuse me, about $1 million athletes. These are the people I worry about. The everyday man like me, who I go there, I spend my hard-earned money. So the person who makes the hot dogs or flipping the hot dogs or serving me the burgers, they can make a living, right?
Yep.
And so when you don't have these people coming in, you're losing out on that revenue. You're also losing out on the revenue that you would make that these people that you, AK, that you, Zion, that you, everybody in the panel, when you spend that merchandise like Logan's got on his hat, like Zion's got on his hat, you spend the merchandise on this team and they're not playing. So you're making your hard-earned money, the money that you may not be able to afford that jersey, may not be able to afford that hat because it costs $100 at the store, but you buy it anyways because you want the best hat and you love the team, yet they're not going to play for it.
Bro, I've said it all year long this year. You know, I hate how fans sit there when we sit here and say that we have nothing that we can do about anything. You know, shit's out of our hands. When really, dude, we have all the power in our hands. You know, if it wasn't for us, none of these teams would even exist. In all honesty. You know, if you want your owner out, just stop going to the game for 2 or 3 weeks. Just no one fucking go. Stop buying shit. I know that's hard to do as Americans, but just don't do anything. Don't go to games. Don't go to fucking sports outlets and buy merchandise for your team. Don't do anything. Because guess what? The one thing that man cares more about than anything in the world other than his team is his fucking wallet. And trust me, the amount of money that man will lose in just 3 weeks, let alone the entire year, is going to hurt him a lot. Your voices will get heard, and when he says, why isn't anyone coming? Well, we don't want so-and-so here until you get them out. We're not coming. Dude, I'm telling you, he'd rather have that place packed, full, sold out than no one there at all. You know what I'm saying?
Case in point with the Giants owners. They heard the fan uproar about the team, and they made a move, right? So we do have some type of say in what goes on, and AK is right. If you don't like it, don't support it. I don't support it. I wouldn't support it. I mean, the NFL is a different animal. I'm in love with the NFL. They can play on the moon. I wouldn't care. You know what I mean? Like I'm hooked. I am hooked on the NFL. The NFL, they got me. Okay, I will say that right now. But if you're a casual fan and this makes you lose interest, by all means, don't show up. Don't show support. Not that I'm going to miss baseball anyways. You know.
Adam, you know how I know. Oh, sorry, Matt. Go ahead, bud.
I was just saying that's basically where I'm at with the NBA. Exactly what you guys just said. That's just where my frustration with the NBA is. That's totally where I'm at with the NBA. That's why I basically don't even watch it anymore at all.
Dude, I haven't watched NBA in like 10 years, Mac. I'm right there with
fast,
you.
guys. Before we continue on the next subject, I want to just turn it back over to Adam. Adam, do you have any NASCAR updates?
NASCAR, you got me on the spot here, man. NASCAR.
Oh yeah, I know. I just wanted to.
All I can tell you right now is my guy Martin Truex Jr. did not win, and the race is coming to an end soon. And Larson, number 5 car, is winning. Suez is number 2, and Logano is 3.
Logano, Joey. Alrighty.
I hate Joey.
There's Adam at the NASCAR updates. Thank you. I know I was on the spot, and let's continue on with our show.
Let's go, Brad Keselowski.
4 laps to go. Okay, they're moving right now. Logano's still in second place with 4 laps to go.
Other than Adam, everyone else's driver fucking sucks. What is wrong with y'all?
I don't know anything about these guys. All the NASCAR guys I know are all retired.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I stopped watching NASCAR. No lie, after Green retired. When
Well,
Junior
I like Martin Truex Jr., but he is fucking
Tony
sucking.
Stewart.
He's not even going to finish in top 10. That's going to hurt his point total for the entire season. That guy is banned from coming home. Banned.
He's banned from coming
He's
home.
banned from his state. You're not coming back here, Martin. Not until you finish in the top 10. See, that's what we should do. We should be able to exile players if we want to. But like, Evan Ingram, you're out of here. Drop a pass. Goodbye.
Fans vote to be dropped. That'll be crazy, right?
Exactly.
Like in week 3 of every third week the fans vote.
James Harden, you missed the game-winning shot. You're out of here. You know what I mean? Just exile people for weeks. Put them on an island with nobody there and make them think about their missed shot.
What is this, Survivor?
Me being angry.
Go to
with a
exile. Go to
$1 million
exile
athlete.
island.
That's what it is.
I love it.
Wow.
But getting
Good
back to the
stuff.
combine, people,
Yes.
it's going to be exciting. Kayvon Thibodeau, I hope, blows it up. You know, and for all this talk about Kayvon Thibodeau not being the best defensive player, y'all are smoking crack, okay? I don't care if he doesn't like to play football. I watched the film, and the film don't lie. That boy is a beast.
He's not the best defensive player. He's the best player in the draft.
What up,
Let's
Ralph?
say hypothetically Thibodeau goes to the combine and falls flat on his face. Just screws up every drill. Can't seem to get right for some reason, for whatever reason. Just say hypothetically that happens. Obviously, no, that's not going. That's what I'm saying. Are you going to just all of a sudden say, "Oh well, no, he couldn't. He didn't look good running the 40 in his shorts and t-shirt at the combine.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Right.
he didn't bench press very well. His
Oh my God, he
vertical
sat
jump
around
was-
and he picked his nose.
Yeah.
Who the hell cares?
And then
But
he
you-
goes
but you-
into, he
But
goes
you know
to-
what he did on the field.
Right.
You know what he can do on the field.
Right.
So that's what
Basing
matters.
him- basing him
Just like Jamar Chase was supposed to be a flop this year, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
What
I
I'm
just
worried about
I
are
just want to
cattle
make it clear that Jamar Chase was barely getting any quarterback play from his actual starting quarterback in the offseason. He had backup quarterbacks throwing the ball to him, like completely missing him. I know he had a couple drops from here and there, but once he had his actual starting quarterback in the center, you saw what he did.
But this is what I'm
Unless your
talking about.
connection
It's
is
like
real.
a big cattle drive, right? You're bringing in all the cattle and you're measuring them, see which one's going to be this. At the end of the day, how does the meat taste? You know what I'm saying? How do they look? How do they look on the football field? We're not judging them because they measure out at 6'5", 240 pounds. Can they fucking play? Look at Evan Ingram. That guy was supposed to be a 5th-round pick. He ran a 4.4 at the combine. Boom! We took him with a 23rd pick.
A
How'd
lot
that work
of
out?
good players.
How that working out?
A lot of players have measurables and intangibles and don't pan out in the NFL. I mean, John
Jalen Rager.
measurables, intangibles doesn't pan out.
Well, you know, scouting is the hardest thing to do in any business.
Yes, I am a
You're
Trojans
basically
fan.
basing a
I haven't followed
criteria,
college for a minute.
and the thing is, you can't measure heart, right? You can't measure work ethic, you can't measure desire, right? So you can have the best athlete in the world, but if he's got a Jamarcus Russell type of attitude, he's not going to last long, right? I mean, like Max said, Darius Hayward Bay. Well, guess what? Al Davis saw Jamarcus Russell throw a ball 60 yards in his knee. He goes, "That's my quarterback." Like what? What? 60 yards on his knees. Like, that's my quarterback. No, there we go.
Well, and see, Adam, I think that's where you hit the nail on the head right there is maybe the NFL needs to start reevaluating what it means to be a really good NFL player in today's game.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes it feels like these guys do not know what good players are. Like you see teams out here, like, well, for instance, we'll use Pittsburgh when they grabbed Chase Claypool. You know, like that they saw that talent underneath all the radar. All of us passed that up, but they were smart enough to grab it. How did they see it and we didn't, or you guys didn't? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, what?
That's
Like
a
that.
great point. That's a great point, AK, because that goes back to what we were talking about earlier a little bit. I think you just put too much in the scouting process. It's too much stock put into the wrong things, in my opinion.
Yes.
I feel like
Yes.
it should be way more stock put into strictly the on-field product.
But it's all them mock drafts that come out get us in a frenzy, right? And we think we know every player under the sun, but then what happens when scouting comes, and this is what scouting combines and these all-star games do, it unearths guys we may not have heard of. Look at Victor Cruz. How did the entire NFL miss on that guy, right?
The whole league.
John Randall. How did the entire league miss out on John Randall? We didn't.
Well, in Adam, in some situations though, certain success is just systematic.
Right, I get it. You know,
So maybe Cruz's success for you guys only came because your system actually suited him the best out of everyone else.
I agree with you there, but what I'm saying is the outreach is now so like I think what happens is
I get what you're saying. Okay.
I think what happened last year is the same thing that is starting to happen this year, right? Is we get caught up on players that we hear that the Giants may take, right, or the Eagles may take, and so we're scouting those players, and all of a sudden a guy like Kadarius Toney gets drafted. Everyone's like, "Who the fuck is that?" You know what I mean? I heard of Kadarius Toney, but like, who? What? Not.
Oh, you mean like what happened with Daniel Jones when everybody was thinking we was gonna get Josh Rosen or Josh Allen or all these other guys, and we ended up picking Daniel Jones 6th overall? You mean like
right?
that?
Because they fell in full bloom love with him at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, like no lie, dude. I want to sit there and ask my scouts every day. I have this question. In fact, I probably wake up asking myself this question: what the fuck did they see in Jalen Reagor to draft him that fucking high?
That got me
right. That right there is what I want to know. When you are sitting there and you draft Jalen Reagor at 18 or whatever the hell it was, I want to know something. What did you see when you scouted this kid? What in the fuck were you looking at visually when you seen him and you were like, that's the one I'm thinking?
I
have that same question. They need to look at how we evaluate players.
Cam Newton the same thing about who the fuck allowed him to walk out the house wearing some of the outfits that he walks out of the house with.
If that's the only thing that we picked him for, then that's fucked up, bro. There better be way more than that.
To him, oh yeah, Cam, that's the outfit. That's the one right there.
Bro, them outfits that he used to have went crazy.
But the thing about the Jalen Reagor shit, the Jalen Reagor thing that's fascinating with the Eagles too is you do this the year after you just took J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
Exactly. Yes.
And miss again on a receiver in the first round 2 years in a row.
So that's my question. What are you looking at receivers to sit here and say this guy's a first, this guy's a second, this guy's a third? Because in my mind, when you go out there and you pick a JJ and you pick a Jalen and whoever the fuck else you're going to pick, you know, coming up, and they don't work out, that's whenever I start questioning, what are you guys looking at? You know what I'm saying?
That Jalen Reagor pick.
They're looking at all the wrong things. Like I said, looking at all the wrong things.
You got to ask yourself one question: what is the sheet that they're giving out when they're checking the boxes? Oh, well, he can catch. No. You know, he's got speed. No. Like what? Like if I'm AK right in that situation, you're my GM. I'm probably sinking down in my chair, like, please don't pick me. Please don't pick me. Please don't pick me. Like, hey, Adam, was that your draft pick? Is that your guy, Jalen Reagor? You know what I mean? Like.
Well, in all honesty, it came to find out this down the loophole, man. JJ Arcega-Whiteside was actually Jeffrey Lurie's son's pick, which in my mind, I'm like, why the fuck is that dude even in the draft room? He's a son and a kid. He has nothing to do with us at the moment, you know. And two, Reagor was a Doug pick, I think. Well, it was either a Doug. It was either a Doug pick or it was.
Real fast, they came. My bad.
Yeah.
They had him ranked higher than Jefferson because they thought that his success was due to so much talent around him. A lot of the teams did not have Jefferson more than a slot wide receiver.
I thought personally, when it came out of the draft, when you said Jalen Reagor and JJ Arcega-Whiteside, the only reason Howie Roseman even took those guys was because of the ego. He wanted to make himself look right on that Reagor pick because he took him over Justin Jefferson. And
Reagor was not a Howie pick. Reagor was a Moorhead pick because Moorhead coached him at TCU. Because Moorhead coached him at TCU. He had a connection with him, a familiarity. That's why they took him. That is the only reason that Reagor is on this team is because of the connection to Moorhead.
And see, therein lies an issue, right? You bring in a family member and he makes a pick. That person's not going to be held accountable for your bust, right?
Chris Merrill.
He's like, oh, well, that guy picked him. Well, he's a family member. He ain't getting fired. I picked that guy. I'm getting the boot. My point is, it's not an exact science. This is why we got to just kind of just do our own homework and find that there are so many players out there now. There are so many showcases out there now. Like they have the HBCU showcase. They just had that combine. They had the East-West Shrine game. They had the NFL Players All-Star games. I mean, there are so many players. It's hard to be a scout these days, especially with their salary that they get, man, they go to these colleges and they sleep on the road. It's crazy. It's great. They know a lot more than we do.
And Pat, I understand what you're saying there, man. Rager was viewed as potential deadly outside number ones by a lot of teams. I understand that, but what are these lot of teams looking at? Because this man can't even run a fucking streak route without getting into a 10-minute slap fest.
Well, I guess
mean,
if you can't run a basic slant route or a basic streak route, you shouldn't be in the NFL. It's very simple.
You can run a streak
one
route.
thing you gotta understand.
Rager could not run a streak route. He can. He showed it in the playoff game. He sat there and slap played
in his
with the corner.
drawers.
that's what I said.
Exactly, and that's my point. When you're scouting these people, how the fuck was he even a first when he can't even run a streak?
I mean, one thing you gotta understand with Rager, when it came to the draft time, a lot of people before the draft combine said he was gonna have a great, combine with the 40-yard dash and everything because of his elite speed, people said. But when it came down to it, when people saw him play on the field, you just seen him play guys that clearly weren't competition for him. So it made him look better than what he was.
He went to TCU. No one was in that division.
Right. No one is good in that division other than Oklahoma and them and maybe a couple other schools, and I guess Texas Tech. But you look at what he's done in the NFL, and he's done absolutely nothing that has helped us.
Shout out to Captain Phillips.
Well, let me read you guys something on his draft.
Well, and real quick, Adam, you can go. But Pat, I understand that might have been his strong suit in college, but it sure as fuck ain't in the NFL.
Well,
obviously, the NFL is a complete different step compared. He's not ready for it. That's all I'm saying. He's nowhere near ready.
Here are his weaknesses. Jalen Rager. He gets stalled by press more than expected. Strong quarterbacks ride and grind him on early stages of the route. Needs to maintain focus and finish his route. Frustration with the quarterback appeared to creep into his play. Cornerbacks go unstacked on long throws. Uneven tape. Here's the thing. Uneven tape in competitive catch situations. Okay, inconsistent leverage and space to catch, and ball skills fail to match athletic ability. That one right there is perfect. He drops the ball in the back of the end zone against the Giants to win a game. Ball skills fail to match athletic ability. So there it is. I mean, that's Jalen Rager to a T. His weaknesses
Adam.
have come forward.
Hey guys, at least had the decency to cut your mic off when you're choking on a bong hit. Thank you very much.
What?
Huh?
No, I said, excuse me, Adam. Sorry for interrupting. Then I said, hey guys, at least have the decency to mute your mic when you're coughing, choking on the bong hit. Thank you.
Oh, that wasn't a bong hit. That was actually just a cough.
Oh, the COVID coughs are not accepted neither. So
Oh, if it was a bong cough, bro, it would have been a lot worse than that.
But yeah, so those are Jalen Rager's weaknesses. I don't know if Eagle fans can touch on them to see if those are still available, but I think
that's 100% correct.
Pause on the touching on them, Adam. But
I mean, he really wasn't. He was just beating the guys that was in front of him, and
pause on the beating the guy in front of him. Damn, Slade, what the hell?
He didn't
listen. I think in college he relied a lot more on his pure speed to fix everything for him. And when it comes down to it, speed isn't everything in the NFL. You need a lot more, and I think they're realizing that now with him. That's why we're chopping.
John Ross, yeah.
Yes. Perfect example. Yes.
Another way overdrafted wide receiver.
Because he ran a 4.2 at the combine.
Exactly my point. Nobody's looking at using the eye test on what these kids do on the field anymore. They're not it's not putting enough of it into perspective. I don't care how fast you run the 40-yard dash in shorts and a t-shirt. I want to know if when you play strap it up on Saturdays or Sundays, whatever fucking day you play, are you an effective football player? Are you a good football player? I don't care how high in the air you can jump. I don't give a damn about that stuff.
Yeah,
if you can get it done on the field, that's all I care about. Are you an effective football player when you suit up and strap it up? Are you effective on the field? Do you get the job done?
I would like to see them convert John Ross into a cornerback. I would like to see them try to make him a cornerback with that speed because he can't catch the fucking ball most of the time.
Well, that's what a corner is, right?
Make him
A guy who can't catch.
Yeah. Make him a cornerback or a
Yeah, but
free
we don't know
safety.
who can play skills. I mean, John Ross got one gear, and that's go.
But Mac, I 100% agree with you on that statement, man. Because as soon as Tyreek Hill came into the NFL, everybody's been looking for Tyreek Hills now. So everybody sees a fast guy, and automatically they see stars. And it's like, dude, Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill because he's only him.
Yeah,
You know,
but
not
people
every
also
fast
forget
guy is
there's
going
a
to pan out to
difference.
be Tyreek Hill.
People also forget that there's a difference between burst, quickness, and speed.
Yeah.
So,
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? People forget that. You can have straightaway speed. But
Yep.
if you don't got a quick burst, like if you're a cornerback and the receiver's got a good 3 yards on you, you got to be able to close that gap if you see the ball coming to him if you're in the zone defense.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where that quickness and that burst comes in. Because you can probably run a 4.2, but how fast does it get you to your top? How long does it take you to get to your top end speed?
Yep.
You know
He'll
what I'm saying?
literally do all of that. He can do literally everything you ask him to do at a receiver.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. People got to stop
Claiming.
looking at everyone who's fast as they're automatically
Well-
can be Tyreek Hill, because not everybody holds all the weapons that Tyreek Hill possesses.
Yeah,
Tyreek
that's
is one of the
true.
fastest guys who can actually catch a football, who can actually run pure routes and knows every route to the route tree. You know,
Yeah.
not every fast guy can do that.
Tyreek Hill was
Gotcha.
drafted in the 5th round. Now I know he had some off the field issues, but that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying in terms of talent. They will find you if you have talent. Now Tyreek Hill, they took a flyer on him, and then they realized, man, this guy's got more talent than
He's a
we
fifth-round
think,
pick.
right? So they kept giving him more touches, and he became the guy.
Even
that
Richard Sherman is a 5th-round pick.
Right. These sometimes you miss on the guys because, like, he was at Stanford. Richard Sherman went to Stanford, not the greatest program, but not no slouch either. And of course, they drafted him in the 5th round, and he's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
We took Sterling Shepard before.
I
we
mean,
took Michael Thomas.
you gotta
was
also
Your boy,
understand
Big Sherm.
something
But
else.
this whole
too. The
taken.
Seahawks found so much late talent picks. Like they found talent in the later rounds. Pete Carroll and the GM over there in Seattle found Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas,
Sure,
Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner, all in the late rounds. And what did they do? They went out there and won a Super Bowl and became the Legion of Boom.
I mean,
Right.
it's like
It's about scouting.
This whole scouting process is just crazy. I mean, like, I look at Drew Brees. Drew Brees got bumped back to the 2nd round. Why? Because people said he's way too short to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. Drew Brees, one of the best all-time greatest quarterbacks to ever do it. Now, when he was, I didn't necessarily know
And
he
the
was going to
most
be that
accurate.
good.
Coming out
I
of
didn't.
college, he
I'm
was
not
also
going.
the most accurate.
I didn't know he was going to be that good, but I knew damn well when he was at Purdue. When he was at Purdue, he was going to be a damn good quarterback. I knew he was going to be a damn good quarterback.
Well, I thought it was going to be solid. I didn't know he
Yeah,
was
I
going to be
didn't-
this good.
I didn't
His
know he was.
deep ball when he was younger was ridiculous.
Well, you think
And
about
the
it,
thing-
Imagine if he went to fucking Miami, how times
Right,
would be different.
right.
Dude,
Imagine
his
what
deep
they would be
ball
right.
was
Nick Saban and Drew Brees.
I mean, think about it, right? He went for the Chargers. The
Shout out
Chargers
to the
got
New
so
Jersey
disappointed with him.
Generals.
They drafted another quarterback 3 years later, in Phillip Rivers. I mean, they drafted him in 2001. It was a Vic draft, right? They went Tomlinson first, Breeze second, and then 3 years later they bring in Phillip Rivers in a Giants trade, and here we are. He gets injured in 2005. Tore his rotator cuff. No one thought he was going to play again. They thought, oh, the velocity's gone, blah, 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 blah. New Orleans was perfect fit for him because if he was outside, I don't know how he would have been. But in a dome where you don't have to worry about weather 8 times a year, I mean, whoo, perfect situation.
Yeah, I agree with what Pat said. He was in a good scheme for him. I mean, that's always been Sherman, though. He's always in a good scheme of something that fit him. The Niners and the Seahawks kind of fit him until he
I mean,
went.
that's what happens, though. You get into a scheme and you're supposed to fit it and then excel at that once you're fitting into that scheme. I mean,
That's true,
it's
too.
rare to
That's a good
find
one,
guys
too,
like a
Pat.
Strahan, which can go to many different
Drew
schemes.
Brees and Russell Wilson were given the opportunity that Doug Flutie was negated. Okay, because he was short. Everybody said he couldn't do it. They said the same thing about Drew Brees. They said a lot of people said the same thing about Russell Wilson.
They absolutely
Both
did.
of those guys came into the league and got a ring. Had they given Doug Flutie a fair chance like he should have got, he probably would have had 2 rings in Buffalo.
Jeff Garcia deserves a little bit of respect.
Oh, I like Jeff Garcia.
I love Jeff Garcia. I ain't gonna lie.
He's not like what yeah, he's a middle tier quarterback. I mean, he had some flash plays. He did beat the Giants in the playoff game, so I'll give him that. But he was one of those quarterbacks in the mid 2000s that was, a top 15 guy. Like, he made plays. These guys all make plays. See, that's the draft process. Look at Tom Brady. He was a 6th round pick. The guy ate pizza, walking up to Robert Kraft and said, "Hey, this is the best decision you'll ever make. Drafting me was the best thing," with a box of pizza in his hand. I mean, what are you talking about? They showed him on TV with his shirt off. He looked like, a soccer dad or a tennis dad or whatever you want to call it, right?
Word he did.
Carson Palmer deserves some respect.
But the crazy part is, Tom Brady, you see how great Tom Brady is?
Vic.
This dude literally split time. He literally split time with Drew Henson at Michigan. He wasn't even a full-time starter in college. Like,
Hey,
Yo,
Rick, I want to actually answer
look
this
at what Rick said.
one. I want to actually answer this one, Rick. He says, Lou, you got to understand. Rings won't be a thing if Russia is sanctioned and they hold a majority of the world's gold reserves. Rings will be made out of uranium now.
Yo.
I'll tell you what, that's a big ass upgrade if they made out of uranium. Platinum ain't even got shit on uranium. If I got uranium on my pinky, nigga, that's the most pimp shit in the world. I can blow you up with my pinky, bitch. Bag back. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So, they give me a uranium ring, nigga, they better watch out. They put another wrong president in office and they got smoke.
You're gonna have a pink platinum onion on your hand, on your finger. Yo, that's gonna be glowing.
Hell yeah.
Bills failed
thing about
benched
Doug
him for a
Flutie
job.
Was he got
Rob Freaking
overlooked.
Johnson.
He should have been in the NFL a long time ago. He ended up being a great quarterback in the CFL. So then he came back and didn't dominate, but had a good season.
Well, he got drafted by the Bears and then cut and sent to the CFL.
Awesome.
Right.
And then came back.
So, I mean, you got to ask yourself, what did they miss there, right? I mean, I know it's a different time, but Doug Flutie, had one of the best college, plays in the history of college football with that Hail Mary Boston College against Vinny Testaverde in the Miami Hurricanes. But that's why, we were just talking about a guy, Tony Romo, right? He was undrafted. I'm not saying he was great, but he slipped through the crack because he went to Eastern Carolina University or something like that. Right, so I could be wrong with that.
Eastern
one.
Michigan,
Michigan,
Illinois. Illinois. That's what it was. Eastern Illinois.
Didn't Jimmy Garoppolo go to Eastern Illinois?
Where did Cooper Kupp go? Eastern something? Eastern
nuts.
I was gonna say the same thing, Lou.
Oh man, well, I absolutely love this stream, but we gotta get going here soon. We'll probably keep it going for like another 10 minutes, and after that, I just want everybody to go sub to all these channels, man. These are all great content creators. If you haven't already, go click on the links. Logan dropped it earlier, and go check out their channels, man. It's gonna be amazing. But let's keep it going. Talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Let's get it.
By the way,
on a serious note, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the news that much. I know that everybody's heard about Ukraine and Russia, but what they haven't been telling you is that Russia also gave weapons to Syria and told them to aim them at Israel. Okay, China is invading Taiwan, and Turkey is teaming up with Russia. Now, if any of you guys are religious or believe in the Bible, the book of Revelation said that Israel would be surrounded by all sides. They will be invaded by the north. In case you didn't know, what is directly north of Israel is Turkey. And in between those two is the Valley of Megiddo, which the Bible calls Armageddon. The last war of the world will be fought in the Valley of Megiddo between the eagle and the bear. And in case you guys didn't know, Russia's symbol is the eagle and America's symbol is the bear.
No,
you guys better get prayed up and get your stuff together because we're almost at the end.
Our symbol is the eagle.
That's watching and that's been here.
Well, I'm going to keep talking about the off season until we're off the planet. So
listen, I'm not telling you to stop talking about football. I was just letting you guys know because it's my duty because I'm a believer. And after that, you guys do with that information what you will, but I've done my part.
Well, because Armageddon's happening, I'm going to continue rooting for the Giants till the bang happens. So.
You said
Adam said Giants over everything.
A meteor is coming to Earth. Adam is watching the game like, nope. Wait, media.
Listen, nuclear bomb's coming. Hold on 1 second. Giant kickoff is starting tomorrow.
Don't bomb shit until we go 11-6, Putin.
Oh my God, I love it.
Well, I guess we're safe then. So, I guess we're safe then because we're not going 11-6. But no, this is a fun time. The off season. This is what I love. Get to build your team. Make sure that you get the rumors out there. The combines where all the trades will happen. So it's going to be fun to see who trades up, who trades down, or what players are going to be traded. Remember, they can't be officially on a team until the 14th of March. So any trade you do here don't go through without physicals and won't go until the new league year starts. So those are some of the things. Combines coming up. And I love the draft. The next guy, as an edge player, to me, that I would like the Giants to get if Hutchinson or Thibodeau doesn't fall, then would be like a guy like George Karlaftis. I like the way that he can be moved up all over the line. I like the way you can isolate him against the guard inside, and that he also has the athletic ability to come around the corner and he finishes at the quarterback. That's what a lot of these guys do. They finish. Kayvon Thibodeau, I know they were complaining about him, but if he falls, I'm picking him. I don't care what line is on the board. If Kayvon Thibodeau falls to the Giants, you run to the car. However fast you can get something there, the light speed to Roger Goodell, right? You go, boom, I need that guy, right? I don't care what.
I don't see him slipping though, because the Detroit Lions seem to really like him. So I think he goes there.
Well, no, I don't want Aiden Hutchinson. I'm talking about Kayvon Thibodeau.
No,
you can have
Thibodeau. I'm saying they like Thibodeau.
You think he's going to go too?
Yeah, Thibodeau. I think he's going to the Lions because they really like him. They really freaking like him.
Wow, that's interesting.
I'm sorry, bro. He's so fucking talented.
I hope for Thibodeau he doesn't go to the Lions because the Lions kill careers. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
He'll be
Kayvon Thibodeau ruin his career quickly.
You'll be like, oh, that Kayvon guy, who is that? He comes to New York, I guarantee it, man. We're making KT earrings. We're getting high top fades. We're getting ready. We're bringing it old school 86 style, man. We're going to give him 55 to be one number close to 56. You know what I'm saying?
Did you say you were going to get high top fades? Is that what you just said?
I'm telling you, man.
High top fades,
man.
You might as well break out the acid wash jeans, too.
Exactly. Whoever's going to bring the juju back to this team, we need to do it. Those pants that had the weird stripes, the white and red stripes down there? Maybe we bring those 80s jump pants back. Matt knows what I'm talking about. Them MC Hammer fucking pants that they used to have on the sidelines. I don't care. Bring something back. Last time the Giants changed
not
uniforms,
the parachute pants. Holy shit.
Oh man.
He said MC Hammer pants.
KT would
gotta do what you gotta
be
do, man.
in Detroit.
KT would be okay in Detroit. They're going to kill him like they killed Ziggy and Sansa.
Detroit just kills careers.
He won't be
man.
shit, but he'll sign.
Oh yeah, Ezekiel Ansah. Yeah.
They either kill your career or they force you to retire because you just get so fucking tired.
You're losing and then you live in Detroit. It's like, double whammy.
They did it
Megatron.
to Barry Sanders and Megatron.
I'm telling you right now, Detroit is a playoff contender next year.
Herman Moore. They did it to Night Train Lane.
Detroit, the only good player they had was Deacon Jones.
Jared Goff.
They didn't have
With Jared Goff, you're saying that they're a playoff contender next year?
I see them winning 8 games.
Jared Goff.
That's not a playoff contender.
Bro, what do they have?
Jared Goff been to a Super Bowl. He's played in the Super Bowl.
Logan, tell me
what does that mean, Mac?
What do they have on that team other than Hopkins, Swift, and freaking?
That was a really good line. I'll give Detroit that. They have a really good offensive line, but that's it.
They have a good offensive line. All right, I'll give you that. But what else do they have? Hawkinson.
They have Dan Campbell. He's going to cry after every win.
They have a good hairline too, Slay.
Oh my god! Wow.
He's not even on your stream. He's still capping on you. You get it. You can't get it anywhere,
with you,
man.
Slay. Don't take it personal, man. You're the only Eagles
you
fan
know,
on here talking shit. AK comes in here and he acts damn near like a Giants fan. You come in here and the minute you open your mouth, we can tell your ass is an Eagles fan. Like, I'll be having to give you the business sometimes, but it's all in love.
Like,
it's funny about Detroit too. I'm sorry about Detroit too. I just thought about that, but Matt Stafford leaves this team for one damn year and gets the whole stink of Detroit off of him after just one season.
Facts.
Away
now he's in the Hall of Fame.
And gets
now we're saying he's the Hall of Famer. In Detroit, they're like, borderline. Go to LA, win a Super Bowl.
I mean, he's always been putting up massive numbers, though.
Yep.
Oh no, I know, but you don't know because he's over in the Lions, and all you see is him once a year on Turkey Day because he's sitting there
He has
watching.
45
That is true,
touchdowns.
Pat.
and
If they are
still
smart, that's the
no
key
threat.
word. Smart, but Detroit's never smart.
Yeah,
Bro,
we're talking
what
about
was
Detroit
your
Lions. Sometimes they're
2011 record? They
They
were
They
like,
have decent players too. They could actually do something down there, but I don't know if it's a curse against them. But they like 68 years, man. 68 years. Like
That's like
what?
the Chicago Cubs with baseball.
That's crazy.
What was
Yeah,
it? 52 years
there
before they
will
went
be
back.
no breaking of the curse for the Detroit Lions. Unfortunately, I will hope maybe in my lifetime, no, but I hope for young Detroit fans because my God, they are.
Well, I think Odell Beckham just proved that there is a curse in Cleveland, though.
Yes, well,
yeah.
there are
He
some
did the
franchises
same
that you're
thing.
like, damn,
First
what
day
is
he
going on?
left Cleveland, went to motherfucking LA with Stafford, and they both got a ring.
Yep.
Nah, dog. That was just Baker Mayfield just being
Oh, you
stupid.
Gucci
That was
man.
him. That
Baker
was him just
Mayfield
being
sucks
stupid.
ass on a
Yep.
hot summer day
Baker
in the middle
Mayfield
of a
never
desert.
threw the ball his way. Anytime the ball was thrown OBJ's way, something good happened. When you seen that he was on that team, nothing good happened whenever the ball didn't
We
touch
lost
him.
Mac.
So what does that tell
He said he'll
you?
be back.
Now listen, Odell Beckham looked great when Eli was throwing him the ball. He looked like shit when Mayfield was throwing him
All right,
the ball.
fellas.
And
I
then he
gotta get
looked
going.
good again when Stafford was throwing him the ball. So the common denominator there is that Baker Mayfield sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
gotta
love
get
it. Well, on that note, we're probably gonna end the show, guys, with Baker Mayfield sucking. I believe it. That's facts. Nothing against Baker there, but
leave it on a high note.
yeah, everybody
Big
go
pause,
on
but
and
he does suck though.
yeah, shout out, shout out your guys' channels, and let's get out of here.
My guest, G Nation, AK Big Play. Go ahead.
Thank
We'll
you guys
start
for
off
having
with
me.
the
In case
Randy
we all
Ball
die
guy over
before I
there.
see you again. Shalom.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming, G Nation. Big Play.
Absolutely.
Yep, big place on YouTube. Appreciate y'all for having me. And I'm out.
Anytime.
Anytime, Logan.
I appreciate you guys having me on. It's always great talking to you guys. Sub to my channel, LGZ Productions. I make good Giants content. The Knicks suck.
And he plays franchise mode in case you want to see how.
Oh yeah, he
End
rages.
up 11-6.
Yo,
AK,
Zion, this dude rages
11
over
to
the
6,
little
baby.
stupid-
That's right. Tell him again, Adam. Fuck yeah.
11-6. Look at the muscles that Lou's been working out.
Actually, I haven't
Yo,
touched the
AK,
gym
you
in
here?
about 9 years. I'm small right now. I used
Well,
to be fucking
11-6. Where the
AK,
Eagles?
you got anything to say?
Yeah,
Nope.
on
All right,
a-
Zion.
On a serious
great seeing
note,
you
may
as
God be
usual.
with everybody, regardless of your religion,
Yep.
the way you walk, talk, or carry yourself. May the presence and spirit of God move into your heart and mind and allow you to realize that He is real, because time is at hand and it is short. So I hope everybody make their peace with the Creator and don't go to hell.
Mhm.
Amen.
Last
That's up.
words on
That's up.
11-6 for the Eagles.